Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Nicholas, good morning to you.
Good morning, Christopher.
How are we doing?
We're great.
Good.
It's Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. We got a lot of stuff to do. You know, leading up to the election, we had no shortage of things to talk about. And now today you've got quite possibly, you know, we talked about the vast differences between like Joe Biden and Donald Trump, which exists still. But this vote today down in Georgia, these runoff elections are an absolutely huge could be for a very long time. Things can change pretty drastically if the GOP can't win at least one of these races. So that's a big one. We'll talk about that. We've got some increased tensions in Iran too, that we're going to cover with one of our top military guys, and just what it means for us as a country, for our defense, and how we can kind of, you know, deal with this. And then, you know, of course, tomorrow we've got the situations that are unfolding. We're going to open the show with this. But the number of legislatures on Capitol Hill are increasing, and by saying we're going to object to the electoral votes. And so it's going to be interesting to see what they do, what they say, and what they're really trying to find out. So we'll find all that out. Bill, good morning to you. Hope you're well. Look at those pups. Very nice, Bill. Patrick, good morning, guys. 15 days till the year gets better. Well, I mean, all right. That's your prerogative. Mark, good morning, gentlemen. Looking for another great show. Well, thank you, Mark. That's very nice. And where is Mark there? Is he at a baseball game in his picture? Is he outside with his lovely family?
Looks like a Denver Broncos.
No.
Is that Dave Rieger?
Mark, are you a Denver Broncos fan? Do you know Dave Rieger? You should meet.
Chris Renwick is up next in for Frank Beckmann.
Anyway, it's good to see you all. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. And we got a lot to do. You know, there's a couple things we didn't get to yesterday. Julian Assange is a big story, and he's being denied extradition to the U.S. by a British judge. So we can hit on that as well. But obviously, the big stuff today, the Georgia runoff, which we will cover, and what's going to happen tomorrow. 1 o'clock joint session, House, Senate on the Hill, and it sounds like there are going to be multiple objections. So we're going to cover it and what it all means. So thank you for tuning in, and we're going to have a good show today. I'm hoping Nick is on his game. Yesterday, he asked me what animal would I be if I were to be an animal, which is just a weak question. I expect better. So I hope he's brought a little more gusto today.
We'll see. All right, here we go, Chris.
60 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. Good to be with you again this morning here on the Frank Beckmann Show. Again, Frank will be out this week on vacation, so I'll be with you all the way through the week. Lots to get to today. Obviously, the Georgia runoffs continue to be at least in the spotlight today, and whether or not the president helped the case of the sitting incumbent senator and Kelly Loeffler, and then obviously, of course, and David Perdue, and what's going to happen in these run-ups. That's going to be an absolutely it's priority number one for the GOP, specifically in the Senate, and keeping control of the Senate. It has to be priority one. We'll get to that coming up as well. But I wanted to start today off because we had somebody here in our state, part of our congressional delegation. In fact, 2 members came out yesterday and said, look, we're going to challenge the Joe Biden victory. We're going to challenge the Electoral College votes, and we're going to see where this thing takes us. So to help get some insider information on this, we call one of the friends of the show, Congressman Tim Walberg of Tipton. You know what? Excuse me. I shouldn't say Congressman. Please send my apologies to the speaker when you see her next. I didn't mean to offend. So Congressperson Tim Walberg here on the Frank Beckmann Show. Good morning to you.
We live in crazy days, don't we? I have a lot of good congresswomen friends and a lot of good chairwomen and chairman friends and congressmen friends, and I don't think any of them mind being called what they are. But hey, it is what it is, and we're just trying to get the work done here in Washington.
Yeah, well, lots to do, obviously, and tomorrow is going to be a big day on the Hill. And obviously there had been a lot of momentum starting in the Senate with Senator Ted Cruz out of Texas, talked about gaining a group of lawmakers, in his case in the Senate, that said, look, we're going to contest this thing. We want a 10-day emergency audit, and away we go. And as the days have gone on here, more representatives, specifically in your chamber, have come out and said that they're going to do the same. Talk to me about your thought process here and why you've decided to go this route.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I would amend one of your opening statements that this isn't an effort to attack or to defeat Joe Biden's election. If it does, it does. This really isn't about Biden or Trump. This is about the integrity of the ballot box, and right now, trying to end the divisions within our country. So whether we agree or disagree, whether we wanted the president to be Donald Trump for a second term like I did, or others who wanted to end it and have Joe Biden or anyone in the place of Donald Trump, that isn't the main question. It's the question, have we carried out the Constitution and the laws of our land? And more specifically, in my case, looking at Michigan, have we carried out Michigan's Constitution? Chris, I wear a legislative ring on my ring finger, and people have asked me, why am I still wearing my state legislature ring? Well, I like it. I served 16 years in the State House. I'm proud of that fact, but that ring reminds me every day when I look at it that the power, according to our constitutions, both federal and state, the power and authority flows from the states to the federal government. And when our state constitution establishes the election authority only in the hands of the state legislature, I'm pretty jealous of that as a former state legislator. Understanding the separations of power, 3 branches of government, and yet our state constitution, Article 2, makes it very clear that the only authority for elections, its process, its carry out, its timing, resides within the state legislature, and the executive branch and the judicial branch have nothing to say on that except to carry out the Constitution. And I don't think that took place in Michigan. I think Jocelyn Benson, our Secretary of State, for her goodwill and good wishes to make sure during COVID we had safe balloting opportunities. Her idea was to send out massive amounts of absentee ballot applications. On its face value, there's nothing wrong with it. That was considerate, but no authority was given her to do that, and that's a concern. And when you have that and other violations that we've seen of law and Constitution, I think we need to stand and defend that and say the electors that are coming from Michigan are coming from an election that was not carried out according to the Constitution or the law. And for that reason, I'm going to challenge it, hoping that our state legislature will get off their duffs. And I love the guys and gals there, but I believe they abdicated their responsibility by simply letting our Secretary of State do what she decided to do, and not pushing it to the nth degree and continuing to push it, even withdrawing funds if necessary from the Secretary of State. So that's what it's all about tomorrow. It's the integrity, and I don't think we get to a united nation again if we don't ultimately have clarity that we did our best effort to find out what went wrong and what went right. And Chris, I'll ask this question again. I know your answer, because I know the answer, I think, of the majority of citizens in my district as well as across this nation. How much fraud or illegalities are we willing to accept in our elections? And I think the answer is automatically none. None.
Yes, correct.
So let's take the effort to find out how we fix it, at least for next time, so that we don't go through this again.
Congressman Wahlberg with us here on the Frank Beckmann Show. Congressman, my time is short, so I got one more question for you here. The courts have ruled here in Michigan, at least, that the Secretary of State, in sending out those applications, didn't act improper because the local municipalities at the local level, whether it be cities, townships, village clerks, are able to do what she did. They're able to send out those applications, and the courts allegedly, essentially said, well, she's their boss, so she also should have that right. What role did or should the court play in this going forward? Obviously, time is of the essence here. If the Trump campaign is looking for 4 more years, and you are saying, and I think rightly so, that this is just about ensuring that the integrity of our process remains. What do you think the role of the courts has been looking back, and what should it be?
Well, the courts were wrong. They didn't give opportunity for full evidentiary hearing. They didn't do that. And we have Judge Stevens, for instance, a partisan judge who's always ruled from the Democrat perspective. And we've had, even at the state Supreme Court, an unwillingness to give evidentiary hearing or even standing to some of these cases. And that's the problem. And as long as you have that, you have potentially 75 million people in this country that still feel disenfranchised. That's not a good thing. We had a U.S. Supreme Court that wimped out. Instead of giving standing to a Texas case, regardless of how it turned out, at least give the hearing. And I believe they should have given that. Now, I have just as much responsibility for constitutional oversight as any court judge or justice has. That's my oath of office. And I believe they were wrong. And for that reason, we have this division that's going on. So I think the legislature, in their power given by both the federal and state constitution, ought to stand up on their hind legs. And the men and women of the House and Senate of Michigan ought to stand up and push to conclusion and not accept simply a court case or simply a governor's statement or simply a Secretary of State statement, but ought to use their full powers. If they don't do that, the people's voice will not be heard, because the only voice of the people, the only voice in the Constitution, comes from the state legislature. I am a representative in the People's House in the U.S. Congress, and the state legislators are the same. And if we allow the other 2 branches of government, which are weaker in the constitutions, they have less responsibility.
Sure.
No one takes away their authority, but they have less responsibility than the legislature. If the legislature doesn't do that, shame on them. And I'm going to be a thorn in their side to push them. I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
I served 16 years there, but I want them to stand
Sure.
up and say, wait a second. We had all sorts of evidences, videos, first case scenarios, eyewitness accounts of things that shouldn't have gone on. And we had a Secretary of State who decided on her own what she was going to do. So anyway, you hear my passion.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You got a 1:00 joint session tomorrow with the Senate. We will be watching ever so closely, and we appreciate the inside baseball. Tim Wahlberg, Tipton, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
It's a new year, but for kids in poverty around the world, things are still desperate. Join Compassion with your one-time $40 gift to provide a COVID relief kit to a family in poverty. Text the word GIVE to 83393. That's GIVE to 83393.
275 southbound at 8 Mile. Accident is blocking the right shoulder. It's time for midday construction along 96 eastbound between Kent Lake Road and 696. A single lane closure scheduled until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Sleep Solutions. Suffering with sleep apnea, you deserve a restful night's sleep. Sleep Solutions is your local easy solution. Don't wait to replace that old mask, tubing, and headgear. Call Sleep Solutions Home Medical at 877-SLEEP-MI or visit sleepsolutionsinc.com.
Let's get into the early mid-afternoon now. A flurry or snow shower left over, otherwise cloudy, and a high of 34, a couple degrees above normal. Tonight, we only go back to 32 degrees. The average low is 20, so very mild for this time of year. Could be a flurry or a snow shower. Tomorrow, cloudy, 37. Thursday, cloudy with a high of 35. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
We've been waiting for COVID-19.
Hi, all right. Let's see here.
Now, waiting for him to get to us.
Bill, that was funny. Glad you're here. Thank you.
Here's how.
Michael Dwyer, so glad the best. Hey, the best of shows are great.
Folks you don't live with.
They're the best.
They're the best, exactly. Bill, it's not up to the courts. The application should be requested. Well, I mean, I think that's the rational answer. It didn't sound like, again, he touched on it a little bit. Judge Cynthia Stevens is a pretty partisan judge. So whether or not that played a role into the legality of what happened, I guess I don't know for sure, but she ruled that it was, it was okay. And so they were allowed to do it. Where's Tim's proof of fraud? Oh, wait, it's the Kraken again. If Biden legally won, why are they afraid of letting someone check and properly count the votes? It's an interesting question, and I think it's valid. What the left will tell you is that this is that peaceful transfer of power. This is the handing over of the torch, the good faith, the handshake after the brawl that we haven't quite seen, at least as of now. But I think that's what they'll tell you.
Ensures they receive critical medical care at one of over 150 care centers across the U.S.
I will counter Tim Wahlberg's statement with one name, Melissa Cardin. Star affidavit witness. Well, here in Michigan, she had a platform.
All right, here we go.
Please visit helpmda.org. Thank you.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957. 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text. Also, we're live on Facebook and on YouTube if you want to check the show out there. Again, I think Tim Walberg had some interesting things to say. I specifically, the object of objecting to these electoral votes, the object of not just passing it through, sounds like it's not about overturning the election. It's not necessarily about changing the outcome or changing the results. It sounds like they're doing it for you. They're going to challenge this for you. If you're out there and you firmly believe that there was widespread fraud, that there was shenanigans beyond belief, and that this thing was rigged, this thing was fixed to high heaven. If that's what you believe, it sounds like they're doing it for you, because they at least want to provide clarity one way or the other. One way or the other. If they find that there was widespread voter fraud, if Ted Cruz gets his way and they have this 10-day emergency audit, and they find that there was, there were things that happened that were improper or that were fraudulent, then we can address those things specifically and hopefully rectify them. And if not, we can at least figure out something, or at least the Republicans can figure out a way to fix this going forward so it doesn't happen again. So it's not necessarily about overturning the election, is what it sounds like. Now maybe it happens. Maybe something happens tomorrow and we'll just wait and see. But I think that's there. 800-859-0957 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call and text. The other part, of course, the other big news today is the Georgia runoff. And look, it's a big deal. It is. It's a big deal. Because if the Republicans want to step up to the plate and be real players here for the next at least 2 years, the people of Georgia, the Republicans of Georgia and Republicans everywhere need to be watching. You need to be engaged here because this is a big deal. Joe Biden going into his first 4-year segment here with a contested Congress, with a split Congress, would be a big deal. Republicans holding on to the Senate would be a big deal. And if you're worried about some of the proposals that have come from the Democrat Party, be it the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, free college tuition, you name it, whatever you're worried about, it becomes a lot more real, a lot more plausible if the Republicans don't win at least one of these seats. So it's very important. 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJ. I would love to get your thoughts on it. Tell you what, let's go out to West Bloomfield, catch up with Ken. Good morning, Kenny.
Good morning. Nice to hear from you here. They're talking about, well, they're doing it for the people. We're going to contest it for the people, so we want to make sure it doesn't happen again. And we want to, we really want to know. That's baloney. Okay, we're just going to let it go. Oh, we'll just forget it this time, and we'll check it next time. That's baloney. Okay, anybody that thinks that Joe Biden won this election is seriously out of touch. Okay, totally out of touch. Donald Trump has been the best president this country has ever seen in the history of the country, and everybody knows it. Everybody does. These Democrats are criminals. They're dishonest. They will do anything and everything, as we've seen in the past 4 years, what they've done. And if you think for 1 minute that they are attempting to steal everything they possibly can, you're completely out of touch. Totally out of touch.
All right, Kenny, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Look, I don't know what can be done here going forward. It doesn't sound like much. So buckle up, because it sounds like Biden's going to be your guy for the next 4 years. But let me take this a step further, because it sounds like, at least to me, that you've got a beef with some of these Republicans that aren't stepping up to the plate, that aren't doing enough to play the game. And look, you could give the Democrats some credit, because the way that they've navigated some of these issues. Heck, look here in Michigan, 2018, no voter absentee voting passes here in Michigan. You don't think that was part of the plan here in Michigan for 2020? Sure it was. So it seems to me that some of them in the Republican Party, if not all, need to step up and make that a bigger priority. What do you think?
I think it's part of the swamp. It's part of the swamp. Do you honestly believe that all of these Republicans are honest? No, they're not. Half of them are in the bag also. Okay? We've seen what these politicians have done in decades. Their children are rich. Their families are rich. They've all cut deals. Everybody knows it, and everybody knows it. So, of course, look at Mitt Romney. I mean, we sat and watched Mitt Romney praise Donald Trump and then turn around and stab him in the back. What does that tell you? These people, they lie, constantly lie.
Okay, but then Ken, what is your hope in the future? Like, where does this thing go for you? Like, where do you want this thing to go?
Well, the hope is to have the truth, okay? And listen, if you have a government that has an IRS that's got a microscope up everybody's butt, and when you fart crooked, they know it. Don't tell me that you can't run an election that is fraud-free. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Okay?
I absolutely agree with you. I guess my question is, where do you want this party to go? And we're out of time, and I'm sorry. It was a lot of good thoughts. I appreciate it. But then where is this thing supposed to go? If the Republicans are in the bag, as you say, and they maybe are, but if they're in the bag, if they're part of the swamp, then even if Donald Trump were to have gotten elected again and were to serve 4 more years, where does he go? What happens after that? 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. More of your calls and your text coming up next. But first, out to the roadways with our Dana Clark. Dana.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Well, the roadways could be a little dicey. We are expecting some snow flurries, could see some drizzle in some areas. Right now, just watching construction. Earlier collision 275 southbound at 8 Mile. That is clear. 96 eastbound between Kent Lake Road and 696. A single lane closure scheduled until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by North Bloomfield Properties. If you're looking for a place to call home, let North Bloomfield Properties find the best place for you and your family. They also provide pre-screened quality tenants to their property owners. They love to match good people to good homes. Contact them today, northbloomfield.com. Foggy conditions, 30 degrees. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Lots of clouds, a high of 35 tonight. Cloudy skies, your low 31. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Maria Osborne in 2 minutes.
Let's face it, life looks a little different. During these times, we're doing our best to keep our minds and bodies strong. And getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters. Like celebrating Grandma's 50th wedding anniversary with close family. Yeah, can't do that while sick with the flu. Now imagine family movie night that your daughter can't live without. Well, that's ruined. And don't forget your uncle's socially distanced cookout.
Yeah, I think you.
Hi.
All right. Hi. Let's see here. Let's catch up on some of your comments.
Every year, people in the U.S. get the
Let's see.
especially
Patrick, citizen-led initiative that passed regarding no excuse absentee ballot requests didn't specify they can't mail out applications. That's true. But before, you couldn't just get
and taught you how
a
to
ballot.
drive a car. He fed everyone on the block, but never shared his.
You couldn't just get a ballot if you wanted one. If you just wanted to vote absentee, you had to have a reason.
But now more than ever.
Bill, with all due respect, Patrick didn't affirmatively give the SOS permission to mail out mass applications. It also didn't give them to digitally request ballots online without a signature, but it happened. Sure. Maria, hi, Chris. So glad you're Facebook Live. Thank you, Maria. Appreciate that.
Interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that
so yeah.
To our Facebook Live people, do they miss Rich on traffic?
I do. Maria specifically. I think
Yeah.
Maria's a big Rich Lazinski fan. Which, who isn't? I got to be honest.
You're right.
All right. I mean, look, 800-859-0957. There's the number right there. Feel free to weigh in if you'd like. Or you can text us too. I just think this is, I think that these next 2 days are very important for the GOP. Specifically today. Today is the day. I mean, everybody's eyes are going to be on Georgia, as they should be. It's a big deal. And I don't know how plausible it is that one senator gets from one party gets elected and the other one from a different party gets elected. I don't know. It feels to me like it would be a package deal. If you're voting for, even if you're an independent, I imagine you're your stances on these things would be pretty uniform. So I would think that it would be a package deal. You're voting for one party here. So it's very important for the GOP. And I do question a little bit whether or not they took their eye off the ball here. I just do. I don't know for sure if I don't know for sure if they dedicated enough time there. That's all. And, again, I kind of said it earlier. I understand that with the president, he's fighting his own battles, and it sounds like they put a lot of stock into that. And that was, it's been since November 3rd. We're at 2 months here. And I mean, again, I think that they should have put more time in to Georgia. Let's see. Yes, I do. Yes. Maria is a big Rich fan. Rich is creative. He is. So basically fix the law now that you see an issue. No. I think we saw the issues before. I think we just saw it in action this time. And to be honest, I'm not sure it's an issue, Patrick. If you can vote, you can vote. You should be able to vote. I don't think that there's a fixing, but now that you've seen it in action, look, like I told you yesterday, right? I spoke with a conservative county clerk, and they told me, yes, it was strange. It was weird. It's weird to see all of this influx of ballots come in and just keep coming in. It's strange. It's not something we're used to seeing. And when you see something for the first time that you're not used to, it doesn't fit your eye, right? I mean, it looks strange. It looks weird. And so, but is it improper? Probably not. And this is from a conservative clerk. So I think that we have to keep in mind that is there potential for fraud? Does the potential exist? It sure seems like it. Did it happen? That's the question that I think a lot of people are left with. LOL, I had to behave when Rich was on with Paul. Maria, that's funny. It's huge. I think President Trump did a good job laying out the case for the senators. I believe they will win. Well, Bill, and that was last night. That was the night before the election. That was the night before the runoffs. And again, I understand his mind was elsewhere, but the party could have spent some more time there, and maybe they did. I hope they did. 100%, Chris, this country will change and not for the better if the two Dems win in Georgia. I mean, it will change.
You need spine surgery.
Chris, no word from our guest yet. You want me to give him a call or you want to give him a minute?
Yeah, sure. You can give him a call.
If you're
I've worked hard to give things away. That's funny. That's funny. Let's see here. I've worked hard to give things away. That's funny. I think a lot went into that we're not aware of. And maybe it's true. Maybe you're right, Bill. Maybe a lot did go in. And I wouldn't, of course, I don't think they've just neglected Georgia and these runoffs. But with that being said, look, say what you will about Stacey Abrams, but she has been, she's been a force in Georgia for gathering these Democrat votes. And again, I just hope that the GOP matched what they were doing. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Here we go, Chris.
Relief to military families. Help now at helpymca.org.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
Amongst all of the talk of everything that's happening in Washington and of course down in Georgia with the runoffs today and tomorrow, a joint session will meet in Congress. Republicans, senators, congressmen and congresswomen and senators will get together and they're going to meet on the electoral college votes. It sounds like there'll be challenges from both chambers. And while those are two massive stories, we can't take our eye off the ball, what's going on elsewhere around the world. And I'm not just talking about coronavirus, because obviously that's a big deal too. But we've seen an increase in activity in the Middle East, specifically in Iran. And what does that mean for us? What does that mean for a potential new administration coming in, and their the way that they choose to handle Middle East and foreign relations? And we had to get our guy, Daniel Davis, U.S. retired senior fellow and military expert at Defense Priorities, to help us sort this thing out. Danny, good morning to you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Look, I think there's some alarming things happening in the Middle East, specifically in Iran, where we've seen Iran starting to increase their uranium by, it looks like, to about 20%, which is far beyond the limits that were laid out in the Iran nuclear deal that was that we ditched back in 2018. And now we're seeing more and more threats coming out from the region. What are you seeing? And we'll kind of just start there.
Yeah, well, the context is absolutely critical here. There's too many that are characterizing this as something that's coming out of the blue, or just evidence of intransigence on the part of Iran. Like, there's no reason for these things. It's just that they're bad characters and all that. But the truth of the matter is that this is the predictable result of our maximum pressure campaign, which is in what I actually call the maximum failure campaign, because all it does is put pressure on Iran, never offers any possibility to relieve the pressure. And so instead of making things better and safer for the United States, it's pushing Iran into a more confrontational and desperate place. And perversely, we could end up spawning the very conflict that we're trying to avoid. So we need to change our strategy so that we can have a better chance to accomplish our strategic objectives of peace in the Middle East, or at least stability. Let me clarify that.
Fair to say that they kind of feel cornered here?
Oh my gosh. I mean, big time they do. And look, and when you look at actually what's happening and what they're saying at the same time, they are screaming out that they want to get back to the provisions and the restrictions that were imposed on the JCPOA. Even with this announcement of the 20%, which, by the way, is still way below 90% required for weapons grade, they say this is reversible and we can turn it back to the requirements of the JCPOA. They're saying as long as, or as soon as the European Union and the United States and the other signatories just meet our obligations that we're under there, of course, not the United States, because we pulled out of it. But they said if the Europeans will just meet their obligations financially, then they'll pull back and they'll go back to what it was. So this is a temporary thing that's just crying out for, we just want the fair deal that we negotiated the first time. And, unfortunately, people in Washington don't want to do anything that benefits Iran, no matter what, whether we agree to it or not, whether anyone agreed to it or not. And it's just self-destructive and self-defeating, because it prevents us from having the safer situation that we should have.
There was also love to get your take on the carrier that was slated for redeployment. That's being ordered to stay in the region as well. What do you think about, what are you reading between the tea leaves there?
Yeah, that's also part of a larger situation. I mean, we've had 3 overflights of B-52s within the last few days. As people say, hey, we want to show a muscular response here. We want to show we're not intimidated and all this. And look, we got to be honest about this and say, does anyone really think that we need to send B-52s and leave an aircraft carrier further into the region to show Iran we're serious? Everybody knows that we have the military. We will not hesitate to use it any time if we're ever attacked. But by doing this, it just keeps the pressure on. It literally is maintaining the maximum pressure campaign all the way up to the bitter end of the Trump administration. And, it remains to be seen what the Biden administration will do once they assume office on the 20th. But, right now, all it's doing is keeping tensions higher than they need to be.
Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis with us from Defense Priorities. Danny, the other part of this, of course, and you kind of just touched on it there, with what looks to be the incoming administration in President-elect Biden. What do you expect out of if they're given this situation here, which they would be inheriting it if they do indeed take office? What do you expect out of that administration? We've seen. I think a lot of folks would say that they've been lighter on situations like this as opposed to applying a heavy hand. What would you expect out of a Biden administration here?
Well, I mean, you certainly got to understand that the Vice President Biden was part of the team that negotiated the JCPOA in the first place. So obviously he thought that was a good idea. And look, if you take emotion and politics out of it, and you just look at the bare fundamentals, during the JCPOA, Iran was not reprocessing nuclear fuel. They were hardly doing anything in the area of nefarious activities in the Middle East, and they were abiding by. I mean, according to the United Nations, according to the U.S. State Department, they were abiding by all of the agreements and staying restricted in their box. And since we got out of it, all of that has changed. So if you're just talking about what has worked and what hasn't, the JCPOA, for all of its flaws, and it did have flaws, it was better than the NODE agreement we have now. And then, Iran acting in all these crazy ways because their economy is being strangled literally to death, and they're acting out as anyone would in desperation. So I hope that the Biden administration comes in and says, let's move diplomacy back to the front, and then let's lower the military tensions.
Interesting stuff. Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis, always a pleasure to talk to you. Happy New Year, my friend, and we will catch up with you soon.
Thanks to you, too. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, you got it. There he is, Danny Davis from Defense Priorities. All right, more to come here on the Frank Beckmann Show. We'll get your calls and texts coming up next. But first, we got to make a pit stop out on the roadways with our Dana Clark. Dana.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Just looking at construction in the midday, Chris, along 96 eastbound between Kent Lake Road and 696. A single lane closure scheduled in that area until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Primetime Testing Laboratory. Specializing in automotive interior mechanical testing. If it's in the car, Primetime Testing tests it all. They are the automotive industry's most accurate test reporting and guaranteed on-time delivery for your next automotive project. Hire Primetime Testing Lab. Get a free quote at primetimetestinglab.com. That's primetimetestinglab.com.
No big storms, no Arctic outbreaks over the next couple of days, near seasonable temperatures. 34 today with a flurry or a snow shower into the afternoon, no accumulation. Tonight, a flurry or a snow shower, 32, suburbs a bit colder. Tomorrow, cloudy, 37. Thursday, cloudy with highs still in the mid-30s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
All right, let's see here. I want to get caught up on a couple things.
In fact, you could save up to
they have 8,000 poll watchers. I agree with you. Stacey Abrams kept herself front and center. Her sister is also a judge who ruled on one of her cases. Biden will capitulate and try to normalize relations. You can't do that with radical dictators. I'm not sure it's time to take the pressure off. Well, I tend to agree with you a little bit there. I don't know that we need to take our foot off the gas.
Touching whole families with your life-saving gift. Go to OregonDonor.com. You'll be happy you did. Because maybe someone else will be happy too. Sign up today. Go to OregonDonor.com.
Let's see here. All right, we got a lot to get to. We got callers on the line.
Resources and Services Administration.
We get some text in the mix.
Look at the stars.
20% of smarts have
Let's see here. All kinds of papers.
You must spend a ton of time reading.
Not at all. I use Blinkist.
Blinkist? Yeah, it's an app that takes key insights from over 4,000 nonfiction bestsellers and gathers them into 15-minute blinks.
Did you see the
You can learn the main points of
Emmanuel Cleaver's prayer
days or
on
weeks.
Capitol Hill when he talked about
27 categories.
when he said amen and a woman?
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
Week, Freakonomics, and Sapiens. Blinkist makes it easy to learn.
Patrick wants to know the cheesiest movie you've ever seen.
Even the stars. Right now, radio listeners get 25% off.
The cheesiest movie I ever saw.
To get this special
What makes a movie cheesy?
Yeah, I mean it's like it's got to be what, like just
Low budget.
Yeah, low budget. I mean, heck, you can any of those movies on Hallmark Channel during the holidays is pretty cheesy.
Yeah. The one that comes to mind, I was just talking about over the holidays with the guys here. Have you heard of or seen Babes in Toyland?
Have I seen Babes in Toyland? Oh,
have you seen it?
What a film!
Terrible movie.
Drew Barrymore and young Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
The original with Laurel.
Yeah, there is an original, Brian says.
We're coming up here.
Oh, what a film! I can't believe it didn't take home Best Picture.
It's on Disney Plus if you want to rewatch it.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I had that on VHS back in the day. Oh, yeah.
Right,
Big Babes in Toyland fan.
Can help, please visit helpmda.org. Thank you.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957. 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text. I want to get a couple texts here. Frank in Port Huron. Iran is the murderous bully of the Middle East schoolyard. This type of giving into terror is exactly what kept Poland and Eastern Europe under the Soviet thumb for many years. Our temporary safety against the Middle East perverts of Islam is not worth giving into Iran's demands, as the Russians say, given to a blackmailer and get a lifetime of service. Well, again, I'm not sure that I am in total agreement that you take the pressure off. I don't know that that's the play. 800-859-0957. Let's go to Rod in Plymouth. Good morning, Rod.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Chris, simply put, I'm not here to impugn ignorance or those two-faced Romneys of the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
But if this election, if these inaccuracies of disenfranchisement are not taken and corrected by the Supreme Court, all you Republican House and Senate weenies will be voted out of office by us Trump independent voters, because we will make sure we stale any normal so-called RNC votes of your reelection and make sure the Democrats get in, if not our own independent people.
Well, okay, but hold on. Why are you burning your own house down?
I would rather not live in a house if it's going to be run by a bunch of weenies called rhinos that are going to deceive us all through our lifetime.
That's fair enough. I can understand that point, but at the same time, do you really want to vote in Democrats? That's the road you want to take?
Saying. What I'm really saying is that they need to get off their asses and do the right thing. We need to make sure that everything is legitimate. If we don't make a stand now, that's why Ted Cruz needs to press this issue with other representatives and senators, so the Supreme Court, like guys, another weenie like Roberts, is not going to be afraid, because, he's afraid that there's going to be riots in the streets. Doesn't he realize it works for both sides? This needs to be heard at the Supreme Court. All of the unconstitutional implementations that were not okayed by legitimate legislatures must be looked at. Otherwise, this is going to, burning down a house.
Well, let me ask you this, Ron. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the Republicans are also conspiring against Donald Trump here?
It doesn't matter if anybody's conspiring. What matters is that we have fair elections for both sides.
Well, sure, absolutely. But if the Supreme, my point in asking that question is, if the Supreme Court doesn't deem it worthy to be heard at their level,
then they shouldn't be there, because this is the utmost of all. This is what the Constitution is for. It's so what, I don't know. There's no question that can be asked where we should not be. The Supreme Court should be looking at this. This is the number one issue over any issue.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Ron. Hey, look, I appreciate the call. Thank you. 800-859-0957. Let's go to Marcia in White Lake. Good morning, Marcia.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I had a couple points, but my first one is Ted Cruz has been bragging for a month now that he wanted to argue the case in front of the Supreme Court for the state of Pennsylvania. So he should be very well versed on how to get this across, that we did have election fraud. And my second point is Donald Trump came into office as a businessman. And I think what happened was he came in and he wanted to fix what has been going bad with China for years.
Sure.
The trade. So I think he stepped into this, what I call the swamp nest. He stepped into that nest, not realize, he knew there was a swamp there, but he didn't realize that both parties are involved in this corruption with China. And now we've got people, you've got China who has the goods on the Biden family. I've seen what was on Hunter Biden's laptop. They've got the goods on these people that are involved in this. They've got the goods on the Biden family. They're going to own us. China, my son-in-law is from Mexico, and China already is in cahoots. They're with partners with the cartel in Mexico. They're waiting to bring those drugs in. I mean, if we allow Joe Biden to take this election with the fraud, with the election fraud, this is the end of America. This is what people don't realize. Change the channel, people. Learn what the heck is going on.
Well, Marcia, you bring up a good point. And in hindsight, I think we're going to look back on this and dissect it even further. But yes, Donald Trump came in as a non-politician. But what he did specifically with China, that was a move that nobody was willing to take.
Absolutely.
It was a move that many people will contest was necessary after being raked over the coals for years by China. That the Chinese interests and stakeholders are right now in controlling operation of many what you would think would be U.S. businesses.
Yes.
So to take that step was something that nobody was willing to do, and you wonder again how many of these politicians, when you say the swamp nest, what does that look like? Because up until that point, nobody's been able to take that on, or at least nobody's wanted to take it on. Another one is again, you talk about kind of a controversial subject, and people tell you, look, if you're coming into this country illegally, you're coming into this country illegally. But with the fervor and the gusto that he took on illegal immigration, again, was not something that anybody's willing to just take on as a mainstream topic.
Exactly. And he's been taking on China with Taiwan and Hong Kong. And China, I mean, he's been taking them on, and he should have been taking them on. Every president before him should have been taking it on, and he's the only one that did that. And don't you think China said, whoa, this guy cannot be president anymore?
Oh, I 100% believe that.
Plan.
Yeah, I 100% believe that. Yeah, I do. Good call, Marcia. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate. Yep, I got you. Have a good one. A happy New Year to you. Appreciate you. 800-859-0957. Real quick, let's go out to Mark in Milford before our break. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning. I am looking here for the conversation between President Trump and the Georgia. And he mentioned this number, how much you need to win this election. You know,
11,780 votes or something like that.
Yeah. Now, I was in the business when I work with numbers. When somebody told me to meet the goal, I need these numbers. I read this like technical issue, how I need to win or how I need to achieve my goal. I didn't look here for any bribing or any asking for help, but there was the number which he wanted to win. Second thing which really bothered me, they have this conversation, but they never have any conversation between George Soros or Gates, or George Soros and Pelosi, or Gates with Angela Merkel in Germany, any conversation recorded, which is a big issue in the United States, because that is security of our country. And nobody mentioned and nobody put any video or recording about those conversations.
Yeah.
That is, for me, that is big no-no. How and somebody issue that Trump is trying to bribe somebody.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Mike. Mark, I got to run. It's an interesting point. I appreciate it. I'm up against the break, unfortunately, but I appreciate the call. 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR, the number for you to call or text. We're also live on Facebook and on YouTube if you want to check it out there. Chris Renwick in for Frank Beckmann. And at 9:57, off to the roadways we go with our Dana Clark. Dana.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Smooth sail on the roadways right now, just looking at midday construction along 96 eastbound between Kent Lake Road and 696. A single lane closure scheduled there until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Sleep Solutions. Suffering with sleep apnea, you deserve a restful night's sleep. Sleep Solutions is your local easy solution. Don't wait to replace that old mask, tubing, and headgear. Call Sleep Solutions Home Medical at 877-SLEEP-MI or visit sleepsolutionsinc.com. Lots of cloud cover today. Could see a few flurries, snow showers possible. A high of 35 tonight. Cloudy skies, a few flurries. Your low 31. Bit of a warm up by 2 degrees on hump day. Clouds and a high of 37. Fog, 30 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
Moose is the German Shepherd, now 11, and he's been an amazing dog. Moose is so active and hasn't had any kind of help.
So I think I came up with a movie here. To Patrick's question.
Yeah, Chris.
Bill Sheridan says the gang that couldn't shoot straight. My dad took us as kids thinking it would be funny. In the movie, they started cussing like crazy, and he scooped us up and walked out of there. Roberts has really let the Republicans down, and I do think some Republicans are being less than helpful, to say the least. 2020 Republicans remind me of 16 Democrats fighting amongst themselves while losing to each other. I called Comerica and told them they need to find me $11,780 to put in my account. Some of the repeat callers who talk about the same thing, you can conveniently not take their call. So we try to give everybody a shot to talk on the show, Steve. So here's my answer to Patrick's question. Isn't it, what wasn't the movie called Sharknado?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that qualify as a cheesy movie?
I think so.
I think that's a cheesy movie, right, Patrick? You're the judge here.
Was that in theaters or straight to TV?
I think it was straight to Sci-Fi. I don't know if it went to. It didn't even go straight to DVD.
Was pretty recent, wasn't that? Like on Shark Week a couple years back. Sharknado.
Well, they've made like 7 or 8 installments now, so it's probably a little older than that.
Is that where Left Shark comes from?
The what?
The Left Shark.
The Left Shark?
Yeah.
What's the Left Shark?
It's
Karen, Frank is on vacation this week, so I'll be with you through the end of the week. Yeah, Sharknado, pretty crazy. I think it's a terrible movie, but it would fall under the cheesy category, I believe.
Senator
That's what I
Kelly
think. At least.
Loeffler
I don't know.
jumped on the bandwagon last night. On January 6th, I will object to the Electoral College.
Any sci-fi original movies automatically cheesy. I agree.
Meanwhile, voices in business.
I agree.
The U.S.
This is
Chamber
Left
of
Shark.
Commerce are calling
Turns out it's from Katy Perry's
Biden's
halftime.
win. Rachel
Oh yeah, the shark. The shark costumes. What do they call it? Left shark?
Yeah, Left Shark. Like the one on the left.
I see.
I don't remember what happened, but I remember the name.
Yes.
Awareness that we need the state legislatures, which are given the authority not only in the state state constitution and laws like Michigan, Article 2, but they're also given the authority from the federal government in saying it's up to the states.
Michigan Congressman Tim Walberg speaking to Paul W. Smith today. I'll focus on Georgia today as incumbent Republican Senators David Perdue, whose term technically ended on Sunday.
So, Chris, did you and your wife talk about this Christmas tree at all anymore?
No, I don't know. I think, Mike,
Is your Christmas tree still up?
No, we took it out this weekend. Our garbage day is Monday mornings, so we take the garbage out Sunday night, and so I wanted to get the tree out. Yeah, we couldn't have it for another week. Quite frankly, it was too cumbersome. It was too large, and with all of the stuff that young Jake got, I thought it best to give us a little extra space. You know what I'm saying? So
fair.
We moved on.
And where we work, and for millions of Americans, work from home may be a permanent arrangement.
But I assume, probably now would be the time.
Says workers
Now would probably be the time to buy a fake tree, right? It's probably
half off somewhere.
Half off, discounted.
An issue that a lot of people
Especially if we're not like totally bought, sold on the fake tree idea,
Yeah.
but we're leaning that way.
and they are sitting in the
That might be the move.
where they do their work and they probably spend time with their family. And so, when they're transitioning to evening time where they normally would have conversations with the family or watch a movie or whatever, they might still be sitting in the same spot with the laptop open, and that's not good either.
Peterson speaking to Paul W. Smith.
Okay, let's see. Thanks again for everybody joining. We appreciate you. Still a lot to get to today. Of course, we're going to talk about the Georgia runoffs coming up here shortly, but we'll keep getting to your calls and texts. But look, I think in terms of eye on the prize, today's it. Today is it. This is where this is the really important piece today.
Here we go, Chris.
Dow is up 129.
Mega Millions and Powerball are both over $400 million.
Oh boy.
At what number do you start?
It's funny. I just said this to my wife that we just don't usually play the lottery.
I've
But I
never
said,
played lottery.
You've never played the lottery? I said, we don't play the lottery very much. We should play the lottery. She goes, I was thinking the same thing. So we're going to start buying lot. But I don't understand. If the lottery's at whatever it reverts to when somebody wins, 30 million or something, yeah, I would buy a ticket then too. We just don't buy it very often, but I'm not going to thumb my nose at a $30 million lottery win. That's
No, I wouldn't thumb my nose at 1 million, but there's usually a threshold where people start, okay, no,
it is. Yeah, it is. It's interesting.
Anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dynavite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynavite from DINOVITE.com.
He flew fighter jets and flew wars and taught you how to drive a car. He fed everyone on the block, but never shared his secret recipes. And every time he'd tell a story, he owned the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do.
All right, here we go, Chris.
StoryConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
Welcome back, 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. Again, look, I just think today's a big day. It's a big day. These runoffs in Georgia are important. They have to be, I hope they were at least treated that way by the GOP. They have to make sure that they win this from a GOP perspective. If you're a Democrat, you probably feel pretty good, I would imagine. I imagine you feel pretty good. Judging by how the state went, at least by appearance-wise, as it stands now, back on November 3rd. But today's an important day, especially if you're a Republican, and I'm just curious to know how this thing shakes out, and I'm sure you are too. I mean, all eyes are going to be on Georgia today. And it keeping control of the Senate after gaining seats in the House. I mean, aside from Donald Trump winning this thing, the Democrats did not have a good night on November 3rd. I mean, they were expected to win 15, 14 seats in the House. Instead, they lost them. And now they're in danger of losing the Senate. I mean, it wasn't a good showing. And so this is priority number one for the GOP. Let's go back to the phones. Let's head on out to Flint, talk to Jennifer. Jennifer, good morning.
Well, good morning, and thank you for taking my call. I am so angry at these courts and these judges, and especially the Supreme Court. I happened to listen the day that they interviewed Barrett, and they asked her if her personal opinion would influence any of her decisions. She stood up there, looked at the camera, and lied like hell to the American people by saying, "Oh, no. The Constitution is my guide. The Constitution is what I will rule by. That and the Bill of Rights." Where are these people? Where was Kavanaugh? You could depend on Roberts to be a skunk because he's been a skunk all the way through. But in my estimation, they do not deserve to collect a paycheck that every American citizen has to pay into when they violate their oath of office. And that goes for every judge that refused to hear these court cases when people signed affidavits with the penalty of going to jail if they lied, and eyewitnesses. Single-handedly, these judges have destroyed our judicial system. If I were a lawyer and I had a client and there were affidavits signed against him or her or eyewitnesses, what good are they? The Supreme Court won't recognize them, and neither will the judges. You know, it isn't just a swamp. It's a sewer that's infested with rats. We had two representatives that met with the president. What good did Sharkey do? Did they try to do anything to get to the bottom of this after they met with the president?
Yeah, you know, Jennifer, I think a lot of people feel the same way. I really do. I don't think you're alone in that. And I appreciate your call and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you. 800
will sell us for 10 cents on the dollar.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you. 800-859-0957. Let's go up to Pentwater. Talk to Dean. Dean, good morning.
Hi, Chris. You're doing nice work this morning.
Thank you.
I wanted to put a big fat red ribbon on the frustration I think 80% of your listening audience shares. I go back to J.P. McCarthy. My radio never leaves 760 to blow torch the Great Lakes.
God bless you.
And you bet. And as a result of that, I get to listen to Rush. I get to listen to Levin, the great one, at 8 p.m. I listen to Guy Gordon. Here's my frustration. As a fairly conservative, right-thinking individual, I'm of the opinion that this election had fraud involved in it. Here's the challenge, and I think this is where 80% of the conservatives just are so heartbroken. We understand the media, the Democrats are all against us, but even on your own show, even on your own channel, we've got Rush and his guest hosts, as well as Levin and his guest hosts, explaining to us with fact and referencing specific information that bolster our argument that we were, in fact, fraudulently had the election stolen. And then at the same time, we listened to Guy Gordon, who I think is a pretty good guy in general. Guy Gordon has some people that come on, including that Republican who's now become an independent. His name escapes me off the top of my head. Congressman Mitchell. Between Mitchell and Guy Gordon, they get on and make the rest of your listening audience feel as though we have lost our mind and are in the process of destroying our country because we think that there is legitimate concern for massive fraud. Now, is it one instance that will turn it over? No, it's death by 1,000 cuts across our country.
Yeah, I hear you. And let me I hear you. And I again, people feel that way, and I understand that feeling. Now, here's where somebody like me comes in, right? Because do I think there was fraud? Probably. Yep. I don't see how there wasn't. But at this stage, right, when we get to this point, when courts aren't going to take it up, when the Supreme Court is turning it away, when the president is essentially openly asking states to overturn the votes as they stand on paper, right? The problem that I have is that what are we supposed to do about it now as it stands?
Well,
because do you understand? When we can say that there was fraud, we can say that there were irregularities and there are things that should be looked at. But when we're reporting to you, when we're bringing this information to you, and it goes for everybody from morning to night, it's as we stand now. What are we supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Chris, good. I do, Chris. And here's my answer to that. You're right. There is really not a bunch that can be done. But when the one thing that can be done, where we can have senators and Congress people stand up and call a timeout, let's investigate and get into it.
Absolutely.
We get guys like Guy Gordon and Paul Mitchell suggest that we're the problem. We're the bad guys. That's what makes me scream into my phone to you right now. That is so insulting and so it's heartbreaking.
Well, look. I'll say this, Steve. I'll say this. Look, I really, Guy Gordon's a good guy. I don't think that it's an indictment on you or people who have these thoughts just like you. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just we get to a point, and again, our legislators in DC are going to do what they're going to do because they think it's right, and they have the right to do that. And I know there isn't anything wrong with that. I just think we get to a point where we go, look, we don't know what to do now, and so this is the path we're on. And it shows like ours and stations like ours, we allow you to call in. We want you to call in, and so we can all share this together. People are thinking the same things you are, so let's talk about it. Dean, I appreciate your call. Thank you, my friend. 800-859-0957. Off to the roadways we go with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
It's a new year, but for kids in poverty around the world, things are still desperate. Join Compassion with your one-time $40 gift to provide a COVID relief kit to a family in poverty. Text the word GIVE to 83393. That's GIVE to 83393.
Just still watching that construction work along 96 eastbound between Kent Lake Road and 696. A single lane closure scheduled there until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Construction Association of Michigan. CAM has been helping commercial and industrial contractors and suppliers grow since 1885. Now is the time to join the most powerful network of construction professionals in the state. the Construction Association of Michigan. Learn more at buildwithcam.com. That's buildwithcam.com.
Pushing around the overcast now into the early afternoon, a flurry or a snow shower. No accumulating snow. Should stay pretty decent on the roadways, 34. Tonight, a flurry or a snow shower, 32. Average low is 20, so well above average on the overnight lows. Suburbs might dip into the 20s. Cloudy tomorrow, 37. Thursday, mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-30s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
Aaron McCarty here. 2020, thank goodness, is behind us. But
all right,
2021. So as the
Let's see
Christmas
here.
season leads into the new year, we all enjoy weekend outside. The snow's coming. We want to be outside making
Today's theme song, S&B, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Oh, there you go.
stuff with the family, but we can't.
Georgia on my mind.
What are you gonna do? I have a solution.
I love her passion, but she needs a.
Become your first choice.
I think President Trump said find the votes for him in categories that he identified. He was not asking him to create votes. Say, yeah, I agree with the last call. Look, again,
Papery Life Centers.
we're here to provide. We're here for you to talk things out, give you information. You guys can call in for us. There is no malicious. We don't. Nobody thinks that that you're terrible for thinking these things. Nobody. But again, once we get to this point, the question remains: what are we supposed to do? What's the action? If nobody's taking it up, what are we supposed to do?
Higher risk for respiratory infections.
So that's where we're at.
Good times and bad. The Muscular Dystrophy Association helps kids live with neuromuscular disease. The pandemic places more than 200,000 adults and children with muscular dystrophy at a greater risk.
Breathing is often hard when you live with a neuromuscular disease, but the Muscular Dystrophy Association is here to help.
MD is what ensures they receive critical medical care at one of over 150 care centers across the U.S.
During COVID-19, kids like me are at a greater risk. The Muscular Dystrophy Association needs your support now more than ever. COVID-19.
Okay, here we come.
To learn how you can help, please visit helpmda.org.
Here we go, Chris.
The Frank Beckman Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckman, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR, the number for you to call or text. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to Tom in Detroit. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. You're doing a wonderful job with the show.
Oh, thank you.
Main topic, okay, I mean, if these Republicans certify this election, okay, I will never vote again, and I know a number of people that feel the same way. They can stick their campaign where the COVID never shines.
Okay, so Tom, so you're saying if they certify this election, you're done, you're out.
I'm out. Okay, I'm 62 years old. Okay, I do not have kids. Okay, I mean, as much as I follow this stuff, I know a number of people personally that were at the TCF Center. Okay, I have a printed copy of the lawsuit, okay, in Eastern District downtown in the Theater 11 courthouse. Okay, I do not believe that all these whistleblowers are lying. Okay, I think Georgia's a fraud. Okay, I think the establishment GOP is done in 4 years. Okay, it's not going to matter anyway, either way.
All right, well then look into your crystal ball here, Tom. Tell me what you see then. If the GOP is done, how does this thing shake out? What's the response to the Democrats?
Ultimately, okay, it would fall on Mike Pence's shoulders as president of the Senate. Okay, going to the Nixon election in 1970, okay, when he basically threw out the Republican votes for the overall sake of the good country. Okay, there was an 1867 situation. Okay, and anybody, I mean, they could certify this. Okay, when I see boxes of ballots coming out, poll watchers being sent home, personally from people that I know that were not allowed in. Okay, they were allowing people out at the TCF Center, but not allowing anybody to re-enter. The harassment of poll watchers, the threatening, okay, of one of our electors, okay, by a state elect representative. Why would I vote for this?
Yeah. But then who is the opposition to Democrats then? Who is it going to be? What's the party? What's their platform? What do they do?
So what? Okay. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, okay, but I care a little bit. I'd like somebody else that would give us some options here. I mean, look, I understand what you're saying. I get it. I totally understand what you're saying. But
let me ask you this, okay?
Yeah.
What can you honestly even worry about voting, okay, with Operation Scorecard and Sledgehammer and these Venezuelan voting machines?
Well, look, I take voting very seriously. I do.
Have you ever seen votes calculated in fractions of decimals before, other than this election?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Have you ever seen votes that were calculated electronically in fractions of decimals as opposed to one whole vote?
No, I haven't seen that before. Mm-mm.
Other than this election.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I got you, Tom. I appreciate the call. Thank you. 800-859-0957. Let's go to Van in Plymouth. Good morning, Van.
Yeah, I'll try to be positive, and basically all I'm looking for is information. On December 1st, the Michigan Senate had 7 hours worth of hearings, and you had people that have signed affidavits testify. And I guess the bottom line, if these people are being called liars, why aren't they being prosecuted? And if there's a claim of people lying and cheating throughout the state, I'm not just saying Wayne County, why aren't they being looked at and prosecuted?
You know, that's an interesting question.
Has anyone been in contempt of the Michigan Senate for what they said?
Well, okay, but the Senate is not a court. They're not a court. So
some people testified under oath that day.
Well, that you can testify under oath, but you're not in court. So I think you can go there and say whatever you want, but because these cases that have been filed where all of these affidavits exist, because they haven't been picked up by a court, because the courts just outright reject them, I don't know that there is even the danger if somebody's lying on an affidavit that they face any sort of penalty because they don't even get to court. But I'm not an attorney. If there's an attorney listening, perhaps you could help clarify. But that's how I would look at it.
I don't pretend to be attorney either.
No.
But bottom line, would Kim Worthy prosecute people that have claimed something, the box come out from under the table or whatever at the TCS Center, and in their lying, should that person be prosecuted? Wasting taxpayers' time? Wasting 7 hours of Senate testimony?
Sure. I suppose the possibility exists.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I do.
Stole, lied in either side. Either side. People that cheated and people that thought they saw the cheating.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I see what you're saying, and look, I'd have to defer to an attorney to see what they say about it. I appreciate the call. Thank you. Let's go down to Joe in Findlay, Ohio. Good morning, Joseph.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Let me get the speaker here. There we go.
There you go. That's
there. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
About that. Hey, listen, my blood pressure has been 175 over 110. I've doubled my 2 medications. I'm on a 3rd medication. I can't get my blood pressure down. And if I stroke out, I want to blame it on the Republican Party because they have broken my heart so many times.
Joseph, you need a vacation.
Party. I listen to you guys all day, and I'm just, I am so frustrated that the way this has gone, and I think we're going to have some real problems in the coming months. I think things are really going to come off the rails, and I don't.
Well, you know what, Joe? And look, you know what the other way is? Do you know what the other way? I'll tell you exactly what the other way is. It's today. It's the outcomes in Georgia.
Oh yeah. Oh sure. But the fix is in. The fix is in. This is all for show. This is all for show. And that lady that was on 4 or 5 callers ago, I hit my head on the ceiling. I was jumping so high. I was just so right on with that girl. The Whig Party is dead. We need another party. The Republicans have just broken my heart since 1992. Is about the first time I got my heart broke by those people. And I don't know. I'm just so upset.
Well, okay, so Joe, I'm going to ask you like I've been asking other people, because you're not the first one. You're not the first one to mention this today. So what is the alternative? What do you want? What do you want to do here? Who's the opposition to the Democrats?
It's going to end up in civil war. There's been callers on it. I am not for it. I am not for it.
Look, you want to talk about, look, there are plenty of lawmakers that have similar views to Donald Trump. If it's a Donald Trump specific thing, you're going to have people out there, Tim Scott down in South Carolina, Tom Cotton. There are plenty. Nikki Haley's another one. You're going to have people, if that's what you want, if that's the type of official you want, if that's the type of leader you want, you're going to have that.
My sheriff is that man in Hancock County, Mike Helton. He's been sheriff here for a long time, and he says that he is not going to let anybody take any guns away from anybody. So he's one of the good guys.
Fair enough, Joe. All right, I appreciate the call, my friend. Relax. Put on a diffuser with your essential oils and take a breather. We need you to hang around with us. My goodness, up in your blood pressure medication, Joseph. Take care of yourself. 800-859-0957. All right, off to the roadways we go to Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Traffic First also sponsored by Clarkston Window and Door. Over 31 years in business, over 450 combined years of experience installing windows. Trust a specialist at Clarkston Window and Door. Act now to take advantage of 31% off install windows, doors, and garage doors. 248-338-6781 or clarkstonwindow.com. 96 eastbound between Kent Lake Road and 696. Single lane closure scheduled there. Intermittent until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by North Bloomfield Properties. If you're looking for a place to call home, let North Bloomfield Properties find the best place for you and your family. They also provide pre-screened quality tenants to their property owners. They love to match good people to good homes. Contact them today, northbloomfield.com. Lots of cloud cover today. Could see a few flurries or snow showers, a high of 35. Tonight, cloudy, flurries, 31. Fog, clouds, 30 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
How much do you need to save for retirement? Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, founder of Edelman Financial Engines. The question's simple, but the calculation can be complex. How much you need to save for retirement depends on how much.
Hi.
Hi. Let's see. I got the answer of what to do. Call into radio shows and act like a toddler who lost a baseball game.
And now's your chance.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
Financial advice,
but that's
management service
okay.
You need.
Poor guy's disengaging. I know, it is a shame.
Financial engines, we're happy to help you with it.
Kathy, Frank is not retired. No, he's.
Come see why
Is Frank retired? He'll be here Monday.
Yeah, he'll be here Monday. He's just on vacation. You absolutely can get prosecuted for lying in an affidavit that's sworn and presented to Congress, but not as long as, even if it hasn't gone before a court. I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to look it up. People are at their wits' end. Poor Joseph. My goodness, Joseph doubling his blood pressure meds. We can't have that. Come on. The liberals are a bunch of liars. It's so sad. The devil is in the rearview mirror. Said it before and I'll say it again. The rights said of all these same lines when Obama won. Guess what? We survived. The country survived and people still have guns. Kathy, I'm not sure why Kemp and that's not his name. I would have to look at his actual name here. I just want to find it so I can be correct. I have it in a different stack of papers, I believe. Raffensperger, I believe, is his name. Raffensperger. Brad Raffensperger. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're afraid of Fulton County, but certainly, they're standing by their numbers. Told the president that in the phone call that was leaked. Which, by the way, he says that he did not, that his office did not record that call. They were taking notes, but they didn't record the call. Which would lead me to believe that the president's camp was recording it, which I assume they would. They probably record everything, but they say they didn't record it, so it would be hard for them to leak it. Nicholas, so Rod Wood spoke today, the president of the
kid who's a Hitler.
Yeah.
Lions, and says the Lions are seeking a general manager and coach who can create open and inclusive atmosphere focused on leadership.
But Hitler
Sounds
is
great.
an imaginary friend.
So is that something that wasn't happening with our last head coach and general manager?
Like 6.
Apparently not.
He's
That's
in the army now, and they give him a gun and everything.
800-859-0957. That's your call and texting number. And we appreciate you stopping over and watching us here on Facebook and on YouTube. That's cool. Still lots to do today. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Georgia Senate runoffs and what it means. What's the vibe down there? What are people thinking? What's the expected turnout of voters in Georgia? I just think that this is it. This is the big one. If you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, boy, you better hope you win one of these things. It seems unlikely that you'd win one and not the other. Feels like you're going to go in and vote, your party. I would just love to know in terms of actual voters, actual registered voters in the state of Georgia, how many people are expected to vote. So let's see here. How many registered voters are there in Georgia? And they've already had 3 million absentee ballots that have been requested. I mean, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. Kathy, I'm not sure why Kemp and I just forgot his name again, Raffensperger, are so afraid of Fulton County. There are lawyers on both sides. Leadership is kind of basic. Right. I think Purdue around 49% of total votes he should get in. Well, I would think again, this is total votes here, right? So I don't know. This is so important here. So we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. I think Purdue was around 49% of votes. Oh, you mean the general election, Bill? Is that what you mean? 49% of the total votes. And he should get it. Well, yeah. I mean, again, now you're going to get all these votes for two candidates. I don't know. Look, I don't know. I just hope that the Republicans put enough time and effort into Georgia. Because as soon as we found out that this thing was going to a runoff for both of these seats, I mean, look, it was just about making sure making sure that they put the time in. So we'll see. I don't know. 800-859-0957. There's the number right there. Yep. Over there. There you go. Over there. Yes. Vanna White, Roddy, doing a nice job showing you where that number is. Lots to get to. Again, we'll talk Georgia runoffs and what you're thinking. Again, if Democrats win both these seats, it's a 50-50 split. Kamala Harris will be the head of the Senate, and she's your deciding vote. So we'll see how it goes.
Yesterday, we'll come back soon, and your guest is there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he burned the beef. See, that's why it's important to be at our strongest. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
That's a big day today. There's no doubt. And everything going on in the state of Georgia with these two runoff Senate seats. It's just huge. I mean, for both parties, quite frankly. For the Republicans, it's massive. It's absolutely essential that they win at least one of these seats. I'm skeptical. It sounds like it would be a package deal if I can't imagine you're attracted to one candidate in one party over another candidate in another party. I would assume that if you're a Republican, you're going to vote for both Republicans. If you're a Democrat, you're going to vote Democrat. But we've got just huge turnouts in Georgia, 3 million absentee ballots. And I assuming the polls are just being flooded as the polls are open now in the state of Georgia. To help us break it all down, what's going on the ground, Eben Brown, Fox News radio correspondent and WJR contributor, now joining us here on the Frank Beckmann Show. Eben, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So what is the vibe? What are you getting down there in Georgia? Because I imagine it's a big day for Georgians, so I imagine the place is abuzz.
Well, it certainly is a big day for the state and for both parties. They have extreme interest in these two races because they will determine control of the United States Senate, whether or not Republicans have any real say at the table going forward. If the Republicans lose both of these seats today, then the Republicans are essentially out of luck for the next couple of years. They will have lost the Senate. They don't have a majority in the House, although they have bridged the gap there a bit. But at least as of now, Joe Biden will be president on January 20th. So that gives a Biden administration really a lot of free rein to pursue policy goals. And that would mean overturning a lot of policy that Donald Trump had gotten enacted. So really, if Republicans don't hold the Senate, the things that you have seen happen over the past 4 years, whether, maybe you like them, maybe you don't, but they could easily be reversed or erased depending on how Georgia votes today.
The other thing that I think is very noteworthy here is the job that has been done on the ground, and specifically on the Democrat side, and the kind of their ground game that they've built there. Has that been matched by the GOP? Has the GOP done enough to whip up support and help Loeffler and Perdue?
Well, they certainly have tried. The problem is that the Georgia GOP did not do a great job leading up to Election Day. And there wasn't that much of a ground game. There was sort of the perennial Republican problem of resting on laurels and thinking, oh, we're a red state, we've got nothing to worry about. So what we have seen over the past couple of months is Republicans from around the country, and namely in Florida, coming to Georgia to assist the state Republican Party in building as much of a ground game as possible to try to get as many new registered voters as they could to get them to the polls and to deliver for these two Republican candidates. We'll know the fruit of their labor. The election will end tonight, but we probably won't see results till tomorrow or maybe the next day. I don't believe this will carry on for many weeks, although anything's possible. The Georgia GOP was severely lacking that ground game, and they ceded a lot of ground to Democrats who have spent not just these past 2 years, but really the past 4 and 6, really trying to build a major voter base here. The Democratic Party has been on a mission to turn Georgia blue, and they have come pretty close. In many ways, first of all, the presidential election, Joe Biden appears to have defeated Donald Trump here by about 12,000 votes, even though the down ballot races don't reflect that disparity. So that's why a number of Republican voters have really questioned the results here.
Yeah, so, another question that I have, just kind of getting a feel for what the people of Georgia think. The call with the Secretary of State in Brad Raffensperger with the president, do you think that has had any bearing on what people think and as they head to the polls today?
No, I think it reinforces what people feel more than anything about what they think. And I think that if you were someone who supports the president and you find what he says to be plausible or believable, the phone call and its releasing to the Washington Post probably upsets you and makes you think that there's even more shenanigans happening behind the scenes. However, if you are of the mindset that the president is just chasing his own tail and that he's launching into conspiracy theories and he should accept his own loss, then you are probably more emboldened in that opinion because of the phone call too. So I don't think anybody was won over by it. I just think they're just reinforced.
Yeah, good stuff. Eben Brown, Fox News radio correspondent on the ground in Georgia, of course, a contributor here on WJR. We appreciate your time, and we'll keep a close eye on what's going on in Georgia. Thank you, Eben.
You got it.
All right, there he is, Eben Brown over at Fox News Radio. All right, more to come here on the Frank Beckmann Show. We'll get to more of your calls and texts coming up next, 800-859-0957. But first, we need to get a check. What's going on the roads? Dana Clark, what do you got?
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
94 Service Drive westbound at Morass. Construction there blocking that left lane. That left lane actually closed daily, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. through Friday. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
Get into the early mid-afternoon now. A flurry or snow shower left over, otherwise cloudy and a high of 34, a couple degrees above normal. Tonight, we only go back to 32 degrees. The average low is 20, so very mild for this time of year. Could be a flurry or a snow shower. Tomorrow, cloudy, 37. Thursday, cloudy with a high of 35. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
Lomas Brown here. When I was drafted by the Detroit Lions, the first thing I thought about was being able to take care of my family. And that will never change, especially now with COVID-19. This game isn't over, because the only way to beat this virus is to face it. Wear the mask, wash your hands, practice physical distancing, shop local. Get your game face on and help protect your family, the next generation, and even the entire community. For more safety tips, visit oakgov.com/COVID, paid for by Oakland County Health Division.
I've got muscular dystrophy. That means my muscles are weak and it can be hard to breathe.
Now is a scary time for everyone, as we are at a higher risk for respiratory infections.
In good times and bad, the Muscular Dystrophy Association helps kids live with neuromuscular disease. The pandemic places more than 200,000 adults and children with muscular dystrophy at a greater risk.
Breathing is often hard when you live with a neuromuscular disease, but the Muscular Dystrophy Association is here to help.
MDA is what ensures they receive critical medical care at one of over 150 care centers across the U.S.
During COVID-19, kids like me are at a greater risk. The Muscular Dystrophy Association needs your support now more than ever. COVID-19 won't stop us. To learn how you can help, please visit helpmda.org. Thank you.
When I adopted her, she was a mess. Scabs, itching, licking, missing fur, hot spots. So I get the Dynovite. DINOVITE.com. And the Lico Chops. Within a 4-week total, Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog. And she loves it.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Hindsight is 2020. 2020 was a brutal year with a lot we couldn't control. Pandemic, economy, unemployment. What can we control? Our job, our career. In 2020, My Computer Career helped more people start IT careers than ever. Don't look back with 2020 hindsight next year and see yourself in that 2020 job. Take control. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
He flew fighter jets in 2 wars and taught you how to drive a car. He fed everyone on the block, but never shared his secret recipes. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
During difficult times, young military families feel the impact. When a military spouse is unemployed, the whole family struggles. The Armed Services YMCA answers the call and provides food assistance to ensure military children have plenty to eat and childcare that enables military spouses to work. Now more than ever, we need your help to provide emergency relief to military families. Help now at helpymca.org.
I've got muscular dystrophy. That means my muscles are weak and it can be hard to breathe.
Now is a scary time for everyone, as we are at a higher risk for respiratory infections.
In good times and bad, the Muscular Dystrophy Association helps kids live with neuromuscular disease. The pandemic places more than 200,000 adults and children with muscular dystrophy at a greater risk.
Breathing is often hard when you live with a neuromuscular disease, but the Muscular Dystrophy Association is here to help.
MDA is what ensures they receive critical medical care at one of over 150 care centers across the U.S.
During COVID-19, kids like me are at a greater risk. The Muscular Dystrophy Association needs your support now more than ever. COVID-19 won't stop us. To learn how you can help, please visit helpmda.org. Thank you.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That is the number for you to call or text. We're also live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can check out the show there. All right, let's get back to the phones. Head on over to Northville. Talk to Vince. Good morning, Vince.
Chris, how are you doing on this very, very tense morning?
Oh, just wonderful. Vince, what do you got for me?
All right. What you've got to look at, I'm talking to everybody out there in WJR land, okay? If what is happening right now doesn't convince you of my point, nothing else will, okay? Point one, okay? Are you ready? Point one.
I'm ready.
Who spends $1 billion, not $1 million, $1 billion out of 2-seat runoff. Who does? Nobody. The globalists do. There's a lot of money being pumped into this country offshore to try to manipulate our system. Number two that you need to focus on. You keep talking about a resolve. If the Republicans lose, what do we got? Let me explain something in deep detail to you, Chris. We haven't had a two-party system for 30 years. They're all the same party. The only thing that differentiates these two people from each other is the color of the tie around their neck. In my personal opinion, in which they need to be hung from. Okay? Let's face reality of what is happening right now. We don't have a two-party system. It is a maroon. It is a mirage. It's a dog and pony show. And Donald Trump pulled the curtain back to show them for what they are. Okay? This is what's happening. If we lose today, the very fiber and fabric of this country will change to something you will not recognize in 24 months. We are bought. We are sold by the Chinese. If you just take a look what happened 2 days ago, the Chinese just bought General Electric for $5.2 billion, their washer and dryer division, an American company. They're buying us up. Nobody's stopping it. Think about that for a second. We don't.
All right, so Vince, what's the answer then? What's the answer?
I'm going to give you that answer right now, Chris. I'm going to give it to you, and you're not going to like it, Chris. You're not going to like the answer I'm going to give you. What is the difference between 1775, 1776, and 2021 right now? And I want you to think about that. What's the difference? What is the difference? Think about this now. Be careful. Think about it. 1776, well, actually 1775 to 2021 right now. What's the difference?
You tell me.
Okay, you ready? There is no difference. They are numbers on a calendar. Time is time. Evil doesn't change. Tyranny doesn't change. It just gets bolder when it's put up against weak, spineless people. And this is where we're at right now.
Well, okay. And that's fine. That's a very grim picture you paint, and perhaps you're right. I look at it as we've got very different ideologies in this country. We've got very different perspectives on things in this country. And that's okay. It's okay to have different opinions on how to get to the same end game. But when it becomes a hindrance is where you've got a problem. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Because I look at Nancy Pelosi and I look at Chuck Schumer, and then I look at Mitch McConnell and the rest of, the Tom Cottons and the Lindsey Graham. They're very different people. They're very different in the way that they operate and they think. So while I don't disagree that, when you say, oh, they all got the same tie on, maybe they do. But it certainly feels different most of the time. And that's okay. But at the same time, Vince, I don't know where this goes. What do you want? And that's my question, because you're not the first person to pose this today. So what is the outcome? And I gotta run, but this is my question to people who go, look, I'm not voting for Democrat, I'm not voting Republican, I'm done. I'm not doing any of it anymore. Well, then what brings you back? What's going to get you back into the fold? 800-859-0957. Let's go to Andy in Waterford. Andy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Great show as always.
Thanks.
Hey, I got a question for you. Do you think the last election in Michigan was legit and fair?
The last election in 2020, November 3rd.
Exactly.
No, I think there are certainly irregularities.
Okay. I talked to Guy Gordon yesterday, and I kind of spilled some beans on a little bit of stuff, and here's some information. Do you know that the ballots that are printed by states, the paper is supplied by Homeland Security? Are you familiar with that?
I don't believe that's accurate. I think I've gotten word from a county clerk here in the state that that's not accurate, but I'd have to check again.
Yeah, I read the information from Homeland Security. It was specifically provided to the states. It has tracking data, and they can determine what paper was provided to each individual state. And there's a reason I bring that up, because a printer here in Michigan supplied Homeland Security printed ballots for the state of Pennsylvania using the paper that was supplied to the state of Michigan. You're familiar with that, right?
Okay.
So they provided ballots to a facility in New York City that the driver admitted that, he was on the news a few weeks ago, admitted that he brought these ballots back from New York. So paper that was supplied to Michigan was sent to New York so that they could provide fake ballots on official paper in Pennsylvania. And that information is not going to come out.
Andy, I have not seen that. I have not seen that.
And I'll be, you know what, Chris? I'll be happy to forward the information to you.
Please do. You got my email. Send it over. I'd love to see it. I have no reaction to it because I haven't seen it. I have no way to, at this very moment, I got to go to a break. I got no way to accurately comment on that. So I'm going to pass on it and see what I could find. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you. 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. Let's head on out to the roadways, check things out with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Secure Your Meds. While we all focus on staying safe, now more than ever, it's important to take inventory of the medications in your home and keep them safe too. Now is the time to clean out, secure, and safely store your medicines. Visit DEATakeback.com.
Well, Chris, really just watching construction work today. A reminder about a closure in Novi. It's closed for construction, water main installation through early March. That's along 14 Mile, both directions, eastbound and westbound between Novi Road and M5. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Expecting cloudy conditions all day today. Could see couple of snow flurries out there, a high of 35 tonight, cloudy skies, your low 31 on Wednesday, clouds once again hitting 37. Cloudy skies, 32 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Marie Osborne in about 3 minutes.
Have you been told you need spine surgery or just sick of living in pain? The Disc Institute has a proven, painless alternative. If your neck, back, or sciatic pain is due to a herniated, degenerative, or bulging disc, then you actually have two problems. One, your pain, and two, your bad disc. Drugs, therapies, epidurals, and new pain lasers are designed to only treat your pain, but they're not designed to treat your disc problem. And this is crucial because your bad disc is what's causing your pain in the first place. Without addressing your disc problem, your problem will get worse, which can ultimately lead to surgery. At the Disc Institute, we have a proven solution to solve both of your problems, your pain and the bad disc that's causing it, with our high-tech, non-invasive treatments. This is what can stop your pain without surgery. Call me at the Disc Institute at 586-416-DISC. That's 586-416-3472. We'll even review your MRI for no charge. Call 586-416-DISC. Reclaim your life.
Heard the good news about COVID-19 vaccines? Yeah, they're coming, but you can do a lot more than just wait. See, you have the power to help slow the spread. Actually, you could be a real difference maker and protect your family and loved ones too. Here's how. Watch your distance. Stay at least 6 feet away from folks you don't live with. And it's risky to be indoors with them too, no matter how far apart you are. And of course, avoid crowds. Also, wear a mask. CDC reports that masks protect both the person wearing them and the folks around them from particles that carry the virus. And wash your hands using soap and water for 20 seconds, and do it frequently. Watch your distance, wear a mask, and wash your hands. Simple, effective, and along with vaccines, they're how you can make a big difference.
Learn more about vaccines at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit. The great voice of the Great Lakes. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes to talk.
They have 8 more hours to vote in Georgia. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We really have just a couple precincts in 2 areas that started a little bit late this morning, but lines are moving. We don't have long lines.
Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger also told Fox this morning,
as a Republican, I hope our senators win. But as Secretary of State, my job is to make sure we have fair and honest elections.
President Trump still thinks he got cheated in November and told Republicans they have to vote.
Those of you that know how badly screwed we got, I want to be clear that we can't let that happen again.
Democrats John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are trying to unseat GOP Senator Kelly Loeffler and prevent David Perdue from returning. If they do, Democrats will win control of the Senate. Fox's Evan Brown's live in Atlanta.
Yeah, Dave, those who want to see Loeffler and Perdue keep these seats in the U.S. Senate say President Trump is correct in thinking they would be the last line of defense for conservative values and policy.
We have to have both these seats. We have to win them. We have to win them for Congress. We don't. The socialists, the communists will take over.
Randall attended last night's rally with the president in Dalton, Georgia. More than 3 million Georgians voted early, and registered Democrats outpaced Republicans in that count, but millions more could be casting ballots today, Dave.
Evan, a record number of coronavirus patients are in U.S. hospitals, now over 128,000. As COVID also surges in Europe, Germany's restricting people to travel only short distances. Denmark's further limiting gatherings after England also took
action. All right. Sorry about that.
It's okay. We have someone else for you.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Michael. Hello.
Hi, Chris. Did you get a new little microphone set up there for Christmas? That looks nice.
I got a nice little microphone stand.
Wow, look at
That's where that one went from the studio. Bring that back.
Yeah.
He stole it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I gotta catch up on some stuff. So European lockdowns, if Whitmer is compared to Hitler, what does that make European leaders? Evil kings of the Renaissance era. I suppose I mean I don't condone name calling like that of any time. But my goodness. It will end up in civil war. What many don't realize is that if this fraudulent steal of the election is allowed to stand, it will be the last election we have in America as we know it. Jeez.
I'm skeptical of that claim.
I am as well. If anyone needs a lighthearted kid video, check out little Finn defending himself and brothers after they draw on each other with markers. That's good. Patrick. I love little kid videos.
I have
They're
seen
my
that
favorite.
one. And yeah, they're these little toddlers with Southern accents. And
that's good.
yeah, and one kid drew all over himself. He's shirtless. And he drew all over himself with marker, kind of like the vacation I just took. And their mom was trying to figure out what happened, even though she knew.
Right. One of my favorites. I don't know if you've seen this one, but it's the little boy who's trying to make dinner for his mother.
Aww.
He's probably like 3. And he goes to get juice. He's going to pour juice in a cup. So he goes into the fridge and he gets the juice and he puts the cup on the ground because he's little.
Right.
And he's like, I hope I don't Bill. He called it Bill because he can't say spill.
Aw,
So
that's cute.
He holds the juice like in his arms like this and he pours it and he spilled and he goes, I billed. I billed. It's my favorite.
Speaking of Bill, hi, Bill. Cool dog.
Yeah, Bill's great.
Why
I
was it
said the same thing.
I like pictures of people's dogs.
You do. You like dogs.
I mean, I don't care to know what people look like. I want to know what their dogs look like.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
We're back in 24 seconds, Chris.
Okay, here we go.
Great show.
That's right.
24.
Dang. See, me and Nick have the same sweater. We didn't wear it today, though.
You should have. Yeah, you have the same sweater.
Sometimes wear it. Unplanned.
That's right. Okay, here we come.
.com/radon. This message is sponsored by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy and the MAB.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
All right, final hour of the show. We'll open it up to you. 800-859-0957. Look, we've been talking about a lot of things. We've obviously been talking about the Georgia runoffs. It's today. Should be priority number 1 for the GOP. You got to win at least one. Got to win at least one. It goes to the Dems. It doesn't do you any good. You lose control. You got to win at least one. At least one. So we'll see how it plays out. Look, keep an eye on it for you. The president was in Georgia yesterday, was in Dalton County, was there, trying to rile up the troops. Joe Biden was the same way. He was there yesterday, trying to rile up the troops. A lot of money going into Georgia for this. This is a big one. This is it. This is the one where you got to pay attention. This is the one that both parties need. Look, Stacey Abrams has done a really nice job down there. She flipped Georgia, allegedly. So if that's the case, even if it was close, it's impressive. So I'm just saying. Now, what has the GOP done? What have they done? Have they done enough? We'll see. Also tomorrow, you've got the joint chambers meeting, House and the Senate on Capitol Hill. And they're talking Electoral College. We know there will be challenges. We know it. We had Tim Walb on earlier. He told us he's going to challenge it. So, what does that mean? They say that this is not about overturning the election. This is not about getting Donald Trump back in office for another 4 years. It's not what it's about. It's about ensuring and making sure people have trust in our system. And maybe you just don't. And we've heard from a lot of callers today. You're done. You got no faith anymore. We've had people say they're just not voting anymore after this. So that's on the table for you as well. 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call and text. Let's go to Jay in Royal Oak. Good morning, Jay.
Hey, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on?
All right. Well, I mean, you keep on asking, like, what's the resolve? The resolve has to be that we take back our government. 70%, and I'm saying that's a minimum of 70% of these politicians in our government are corrupt. They only do things for themselves. What makes them richer? We've elected these people to work for us.
Couldn't agree more.
And this COVID stimulus package is a direct example of what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Us as Americans get a measly $600 while we give billions and billions of dollars away to other countries.
Mm-hmm.
They have to start working for us.
Couldn't agree more.
This election goes, it was 100% corrupt. I mean, just watching two women pull ballots from underneath a table is example enough. I mean, if one fraud happens, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to prove anything else. You know, if they don't take back and do the right thing with this electoral college, then I think, truthfully, and I hate saying it too, but I think either two things need to happen. Either we start a new political party with just patriots, just people that want to work for Americans, and that's it. Or I think there's going to be a revolution of some sorts, you know. And I'm not saying it's got to be a violent revolution. I say something has to happen. So I mean that's my 2 cents. I'm just a produce delivery guy, but you know that's my 2 cents on life.
No, Jay, and look, I again, you're not alone. And when I say when people become disenfranchised in this situation, right? When they go, look, there was voter fraud at a gigantic level. They're taking this from Donald Trump, and we're not voting anymore. We're done. We're done with this. We're out. I'm done. And when you get to that point, right? And actually, to be honest, Donald Trump brought a lot of those people out. many people were already there before Donald Trump. Heck, back in 2014, back in 2015, those people weren't even participating because they were already where we're at now, where a lot of people are at now, where they're just going like, I'm done. They're throwing in the towel. They were there 6 years ago. They were already there 7 years ago, 8 years ago. They were there. They weren't voting for Barack Obama or Mitt Romney or John McCain or George Bush or they weren't even voting. They weren't even participating because they were already tired of it. And now we're getting back to a place where people are going to go back and they're going to say, I'm done. I'm done again. Donald Trump brought that out in people. And when I say that there are people that, like real supporters of the president in Washington, D.C., like Tom Cotton is one that pops right in front of my mind. Nikki Haley is another one where these people very much mesh with the Donald Trump ideology. And so if Donald Trump goes away, if Donald Trump is done being president in 15 days, if that's the case, there are people that will continue that mantra. They will carry that on. Heck, there's 75 million people out there that are into it. So I don't think that I believe, for me personally, that's where the Republican Party is. That's where they need to be. Look, the Democrats had every single advantage in this election, every single one. They had every single, it seemed, major company out there stumping for them. They had all of Hollywood, everybody, every single famous person in this country. They had musicians, athletes, they had everything. They had everything. And there was supposed to be this gigantic Democrat way. It wasn't there. It wasn't. They lost houses they lost seats in the House, and they're in jeopardy of still falling behind in the Senate. But come 4 years from now, that support diminishes, it vanishes, because they don't find it as necessary to participate again. That's just how it goes. So those 75 million people, the Republicans, the GOP, need to find a way to hold on to them. So I get it. I get it. You're upset, and I understand. But if you are a fan of Donald Trump, if you are a supporter, if you are in Donald Trump's corner, there will be people that carry on that mantra. And I believe that that's where the GOP is. They already see that they've got the base there. 800-859-0957. The days of George Bush are over. Moderates are over. It has to be. Well, in the Democrats' case, we'll see. 800-859-0957. All right, off to the roadways we go with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
It's a new year, but for kids in poverty around the world, things are still desperate. Join Compassion with your one-time $40 gift to provide a COVID relief kit to a family in poverty. Text the word GIVE to 83393. That's GIVE to 83393.
No complaints out there. Make sure you take your time. Could be some slippery spots. Expecting some snow flurries later this morning. Foggy conditions in some areas. Definitely a nice winter day today. Look out for construction along 96 eastbound between Kent Lake and 696. Single lane closure scheduled until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Primetime Testing Laboratory. In need of testing that automotive project, Primetime Testing Labs are the industry's best in complete automotive testing services. They guarantee on-time delivery, accurate result reporting, and are a 2LA accredited for your automotive project. Get a free quote at primetimetestinglab.com. That's primetimetestinglab.com.
No big storms, no Arctic outbreaks over the next couple of days, near seasonable temperatures. 34 today with a flurry or a snow shower into the afternoon, no accumulation. Tonight, a flurry or a snow shower, 32, suburbs a bit colder. Tomorrow, cloudy, 37. Thursday, cloudy with highs still in the mid-30s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic on News Talk 760 WJR.
The market is constantly changing. The Marketplace Minute keeps you up to date 1 minute.
Hey, Bill, that's a good point. They had big tech hiding issues and not allowing people to share stories. All right, that's a great point. I forgot about social media, but you're right. You're absolutely right. So I'm just saying, where do they go from here? So when people say they're done, I'm out. I'm tapping. I'm done with the system. I'm done with these parties. I'm done with these politicians. I'm out. When they say that, I mean, there will be the Republicans know they've got 75 million people that resonate that resonate to Donald Trump's message. They're into it.
What do you think he'll do going forward, Chris? The two main theories I've been hearing is A, he's going to start his own media company, which he kind of did around 2016. Before he won in 2016, but then his campaign gained momentum and they kind of ditched that idea. But I remember Laura Trump actually was the anchor on that. Or they think he's going to run again in 2024.
I think both are possible.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he could launch the new company.
Yeah, I'm not. And look, you can buy, the frequency. You can buy. I mean, it wouldn't be very difficult. Just buy some weird, outdoor grizzly man channel and flip it. And it's not like he, hurting for cash where he's not going to be able to buy equipment. He's not going to be able to bankroll it. So I absolutely could see him doing both. It's whether or not the party will be behind him again to run in 2024.
Yeah. And I think, I think we probably won't have a good idea of that till 2022.
Absolutely. I agree.
Because I'm trying to think in 2018, there was a lot of people who were running as sort of Trump's candidate. And then in 2020, you saw some people still do that, but then there were other people who used his name pretty heavily when they were campaigning in 2018. If they were campaigning again in 2020, there are some people who wouldn't go near him. So
sure.
I think by 2022 he'll still be pretty politically influential within the party. But we'll see just how politically influential he'll be.
Yeah, I don't think he goes away. Like I don't think you just don't see him again.
No, that'd be the most shocking thing if he did.
If he doesn't stay in office past January 20th, we will be seeing and hearing from Donald Trump frequently.
If nothing else, on the campaign trail for other people in the meantime.
And that's the very least. I mean, I could see him still holding these rallies. I could see him. I mean, I could absolutely see him continuing this. Absolutely.
That. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
The Frank Beckmann Show. News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text. We're going back to the phones. Go to Gloria in Clinton Township. Good morning, Gloria.
Hey, good morning. Hey, you're cut out for this job. You should consider it for a career.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Well, I'm 82 years old, and I've been around a long time to watch politics the way it goes. And I remember once hearing in a class that Republicans and Democrats are like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, and this is what's happened. Way back when, they were very separate, and then they started getting all mixed up, and it looks like one party, like they're talking about. And when they come off the other side, the Republicans are Democrats, and the Democrats are Republicans. So that man that his blood pressure's running up to the roof, knock it off, boy, when you can't do something about something, and just drop it and let it take its roll, And for myself, as far as Trump, I want to hang up a banner that says, it's the people, stupid. It's the environment, stupid. It's not the economy, stupid. I'm so glad to be rid of him because we can undo the damage that Biden will do much more easily than we can undo the damage that Trump has already done.
So do you consider Gloria, do you consider yourself more a Republican or a Democrat? I'm assuming more a Republican.
I was until Trump.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I born into I live in the house I was born in. Our family's been around here almost 200 years in the same place, and we always been Republicans. And boy, I took a look at him. And I wouldn't mop the dirtiest part of the floor with his face.
Wow. Well, all right, Gloria. I mean, look, I don't know. People are saying that things will change forever. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case.
Wait.
I hope we don't see wholesale. I hope we don't see wholesale changes that we're just never going to be able to come back from.
We're headed to another revolution. Democracies and republics aren't forever.
Well, boy, I hope that's not right either. Gloria, I appreciate the call. Thank you. Let's go to James in Birmingham. James, good morning.
How are you, Chris?
Hey, what's up?
Listen, I wanted to discuss the lieutenant colonel you had on, who was supporting the JCPOA return, which Iran has already rejected the U.S. return without setting additional conditions. He gave a lot of misinformation to your listeners about what Iran was doing and how they were following all the guidelines, when none of that is the case. Iran, during the negotiation of the JCPOA, was increasing their violations of what would be the upcoming terms by increasing its support for terrorism all around the Middle East. And remember, it was right after when the January 2016 seizure of 10 American sailors, which they claimed had violated their international waters and kept blindfolded and hostage.
Correct.
And that was during the JCPOA. And in fact, the International Atomic Energy Association, which was charged with maintaining the treaty terms, was kept from going to many, many spots to investigate and inspect. And in fact, during the treaty, they also announced right before the U.S. left that they were building these centrifuges which were prohibited, the IR2 instead of the IR1, which is for.
All right. So where are you going with this, James?
Is that the idea that Iran is a trustworthy negotiating partner, much less willing to enter into a treaty? For what purpose does the U.S. benefit? Iran is not going to slow down its push towards nuclear energy or nuclear war capability. They want.
No, I agree, and I think more than ever, this is when we have to keep applying pressure. This is that we can't take the foot off the gas here. This and actually, I mean, for some different reasons, but this is the same thing that we need to do with China. You have to keep the pressure on. And this is where I differ with Danny a little bit, because I don't think that we can just go back to a time when Iran doesn't have these ambitions. And I think that's something that we need to realize too. 800-859-0957. Chuck in Lansing. Good morning, Chuck. Charles. Not there. All right. Fair enough. Let's go to Sean in Northville. Shawnee. Okay, no Sean. Let's go to Mark in Grosse Pointe Woods. Mark's there. There he is. Hey, Mark.
How are you?
Hey, what's up?
I just, that Gloria had a lot of good points, and she was just, I know a lot of people that changed their mind after the 3.5 years that Trump was in office.
Mm-hmm.
All the name calling, all the bickering, all the false information. I mean, he's picking up people's brothers' names, different things. And he's kind of a hard guy to follow. if you ever listen to him give a hour and a half speech, you want to like take a hammer to your head. But I don't. Did you have a chance to listen to the secretary from Georgia the other day?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He explained every point that people are bringing up. And I would encourage a lot of people to take that tape. It's probably on YouTube, and you could watch it. And point by point, he just shot down all the false ideas that people have about the election.
Yeah, I mean, I think his response to a lot of the stuff was, I think he even said at one point that, Mr. President, your information's wrong. But again, somebody's giving wrong information here. Somebody doesn't have the right information, whether it's the president or whether it's the state of Georgia. But they both can't be right. And so, yeah, something is off. It just has to be. And whether there was fraudulent activity that took the state away from him, somebody's got the wrong information. Appreciate the call. 800-859-0957. Alex in Detroit. Good morning.
Yeah, hi. I say the Republicans made a big mistake by stealing it, and you may have stolen it, but you're never going to own it. I say secession, and I've got a feeling that picking Trump off more than what he was already, he's not going to go away. He's going to be there. He's going to rally a lot of people. And in 4 years, these Democrats may really be sorry that they put a senile old man in there with a senile woman into the Congress. And then what are you going to get? You're going to get Harris. She couldn't even stay in for the first ballot to vote for her. Biden's not going to stay in there. They're going to get rid of him as fast as they can. And I bet you in 6 months, he's going to be gone. The whole thing wasn't to put Biden in. It was to put Harris in. It was the only way they could get her in there.
Yeah. All right, Alex. Yeah. You're not the first one to speculate on that. That's for sure. And we'll just see how it plays out. Again, that's if everything stands as is now. 800-859-0957. All right, 11:27, off to the roadways we go and get an update there with our Dana Clark.
This report is brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Just a day of construction, actually an accident just coming into the traffic center along the Southfield Freeway southbound at Michigan Avenue. Wreck blocks the right lane, seeing delays from at least Ford Road. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, expecting it to be cold, cloudy, and could see some snow flurries out there. A high of 35 tonight, cloudy, few flurries, your low 31. For Wednesday, cloudy conditions and a high of 37. Holding at 32 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in about 2 minutes.
Lomas Brown here. When I was drafted by the Detroit Lions, the first thing I thought about.
Chris, if you call out enough names, finally we'll have someone who's there.
We'll get one. Yeah, I like it. That's okay. We're going to run through them.
I was struggling to find the mic because when that happens with Dietz, I just jump on the mic and say, go to Alex from Detroit, but
well, I can, the people can't see us here, but I can see you back here. So I could see you guys giving me the hands.
Right.
You were giving me the finger. And so I had to move on.
Right. You're going to catch these hands.
Now I'm going to catch those hands.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hi, there
he is.
There's Nicholas.
Where
have you been?
Oh, answering all your phone calls.
Oh, good. The lines are busy.
The lines are hot.
This is what I'm good for, Chris.
Yeah, you do a great job.
No, some breaking sports news.
Okay, what do we got?
Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski tests positive for COVID-19.
Oh,
Four
no.
coaches and 2 players. They will miss the playoff game against the Steelers.
Do they name the players?
Not yet. There's a report that 1 player is significant.
Oh, no.
So you waited 18 years to get back to the playoffs, and your head coach can't be there.
Your head coach can't be there, and now Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield can't make it.
Yeah, my guess is Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
It can't be Jarvis Landry. He was on my fantasy team, and he was already out.
I don't think it would be a huge Nick. I think it would be a good player. I don't know.
Maybe Kareem Hunt.
That actually be the best case scenario for them. Well, when it comes to a significant player, that is.
Right.
Among many Trump supporters who share the president's distrust of
There's a lot of speaker coming in. There we go.
Well,
Well, I mean, they're gonna get killed by the Steelers anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Nick thinks the Browns are going to the Super Bowl.
Really?
No.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
I do not. I picked the Steelers.
Nick thinks the Browns are going all the way.
You know what? I like the Browns. I like Baker Mayfield because I don't like people who are cocky who can't back it up, but I really like when people are cocky and they back it up.
Are the Browns are one of the teams that have never made it to the Super Bowl, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, sounds about right.
They're one of the teams that haven't made it. Did they make it before they moved to Baltimore? Maybe they made it before they moved to
Cleveland.
Yeah, the old Browns are now the Ravens.
The old Browns are now the Ravens.
Right. So you're asking if before they moved to Baltimore, if they ever made a Super Bowl as the Browns in Cleveland before they moved.
Correct.
Look at Nick. He's on the case. I can tell.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the Browns. I like teams that suck and get better. I was bummed to see that the Dolphins missed the playoffs. But either way, they're going to be killed by the Steelers. They only beat them by 2 points this weekend, and that's with the Steelers' backups. So the whole team could have COVID. It wouldn't matter.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think they've been to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
They have 4 NFL championships, though.
Ooh.
They have 4 NFL championships?
Yeah.
Wow.
The 50s were a hell of a time to be a football fan, I hear.
Sure they were.
Here we go. Back in that.
GameBeginsWithUs.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. We're going to go back to the phone calls in a second. I just, again, the things that we're on today, obviously, what's going on in Georgia today? What do you expect? Call your shot, quite frankly. And on the other side of things, it's we've had a lot of people call in today that they're just frustrated because at the end of the day, if Donald Trump isn't in office for the next 4 years, and maybe even after that, if that were to be the case, very disappointed in our system here. Disappointed in our politicians, which I suppose is not a total shock. But that's what we're on. So give us a call, 800-859-0957. Let's go to Libby in Flint. Good morning, Libby.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, you were talking a while back about people who hadn't voted and then came out and voted for Trump and what we would do now because they're going to be disenfranchised again and this and that. Well, he woke up more than those people. He woke up the Hispanics. He woke up the blacks more than any other Republican person out there. You don't think that we need a leader, and I think Trump will be that leader again, under maybe the title of Trump Republican Party or Trump Conservative Party or something along those lines. He still has a gigantic following. And as far as the cheating in Georgia, if it looks like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a duck. And this thing smelled like cheating. Believe me. In Florida, my sister-in-law was one of the people who counted down there. No one was allowed to eat where they counted, the ballots. Everybody closed and left the room, ate, and then came back. What was this baloney that happened in Detroit about having the Democrats have a table with their coffee and sandwiches and whatever, and no Republican could go over to that table? And when they went out, they weren't allowed to come back in, and they put boards up on the window. What? Are you insane? You don't have any common sense that would tell you that something wrong is happening? Just your common sense would tell you, people. Wake up. Thank you so much, Chris.
You got it, Libby. Have a good day. 800-859-0957. Let's go to Chesterfield. Talk to Eric. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? What can I do for you?
I'm all right. Off subject a little bit. What's to keep President Trump from pulling all the generals together in his office and saying, this is tyranny, all these people, they're not just trying to get me out of office, they're trying to take over the country and destroy us. And using the military to keep himself in office and keep control of things to make sure that they don't do that.
Look, is that what you really want?
I do.
That's what you really want? That's what you really want to see happen?
I not necessarily, but I think, there's something needs to be done. I don't think you should just walk out, hands up, and give up. I think it's obvious to all of us that what has happened, it's cheating, it's fraud, and
well, look, Eric, I think if that happens, if that were to happen, this country will never be the same again. It would never be the same again. This country would be. I don't even know what it would look like. And look, again, if that's the road you want to go down, if that's, and I'm not just saying you, I'm just saying if that's an option for people, that's what you want to see happen. I mean, be prepared for what's on the other side, because it ain't pretty. It's everything that we quite frankly, as Americans, don't want. So I would throw caution to the wind there. Let's stay in Chesterfield. Talk to Jay. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, I'm good. What can I do for you?
Hey, I just wanted to, I've never called into a radio station in my life. I'm 64 years old, and I've been, listening to Frank Beckmann for years and years, Paul W. Smith, everybody from WJR. And I've been very disappointed the last couple of weeks on this show because you're getting these people to call in that hate Donald Trump. Okay, I get it. It's a right and left side of the road here. But they do the same thing on Rush Limbaugh's show, and he cuts them off. He doesn't waste his time with them. And even Frank, I think you guys are getting blindsided by these people. These people are professionals. They're calling in, they're starting out, "Hi, Chris, how are you today? Is everything great? Happy New Year." Then they go right into how Donald Trump is an idiot and he ought to be thrown in jail. And, you need to just cut them people off of this show. You're the last line of defense for us to listen to talk radio in Detroit. And if you shut it down, then there's nothing left. That's all I have to say. And I do have one other thing to say.
All right, let me hear it, Jay.
Okay.
Lay it out for me, baby.
I'm sorry. I used to listen to Mitch Albom's show. I loved it. Okay, I had a place up north. I listened to it every Friday on the way out. Laughed all the way up there. As soon as Donald Trump got elected, they hated him. Blah blah blah. Then when the Nick Sandman thing happened with the kid that wore the mega hat, did absolutely nothing wrong but smile. And Kenny G made a song about how Nick is an idiot and blah, 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 blah. I don't know all the words to it. But he never apologized to that kid. That kid sued CNN. He's suing everybody else. He's winning. Okay, he's winning millions of dollars.
Jay, where are you going, man? What's the point?
The point is, you guys gotta work it, man. It's like you got one.
Okay, here. Jay, let me show you how to do it. Boop bop beat. There you go. Goodbye, Jay. I don't know why your opinion, why your your view is any different than anybody else. I'm sorry. It's just not, I don't, that's not how we operate on this show. It's not how it should be. In my opinion, it's not how it should be run. Frank is willing to hear different opinions. That's what we do. We bring everybody to the table. We give you the information. You make up your mind. Just because somebody believes something different than you, they still got the same vote you do. Still counts for one. Come on. That's a joke, right? That can't be real. Okay, let's go to Chris in Redford. Chris, hello. Great name. What can I do for you?
Trump and the voter fraud and the Republicans. Why is it Trump or the Republican Party's responsibility to bring vote?
I'm sorry, you broke up there. Say that for me one more time. Chris? All right, something's going on with Chris. I'll tell you what. Let's go to Henry in White Lake. Henry. Hey.
Thanks for the opportunity. First from the choir, if you're only listening to things you already know, you're not learning anything.
It's not interesting to me.
Yeah. Having said that, let me just say that all this attention on Georgia, actually Michigan had an opportunity. We had an election. We had a choice between two individuals. One of them has been in office and has proven that he is ineffective in doing for Michigan what other representatives do for their states. And the other candidate was a new guy who's proven success in business. And yet in Michigan, rather than taking a new guy who has not proven to be incompetent, we chose the old guy. And the reason we did that is because of a letter following his name. We did the same thing 6 years earlier. We had the same situation. We had a woman that's been in politics forever that has not made Michigan stronger, education better, transportation better, and we indemnified her for another 6 years rather than putting someone new in office. If you want to see who's to blame for the problem we have in Washington, look at how your representative voted on that pork-filled bill, and then look in the mirror. If you voted for the individual that voted yes, then you're the problem.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's a good point. Your vote has consequences. The people that you send to Lansing or that you send to Washington, they have consequences. Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Henry. I appreciate the call. 800-859-0957. Off to the roadways we go. We'll get an update there with our Danny Clark.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Looking at the Southfield Freeway southbound at Michigan Avenue, accident is blocking the left lane, seeing delays from at least Ford Road. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
Pushing around the overcast now into the early afternoon, a flurry or a snow shower. No accumulating snow. Should stay pretty decent on the roadways, 34. Tonight, a flurry or a snow shower, 32. Average low is 20, so well above average on the overnight lows. Suburbs might dip into the 20s. Cloudy tomorrow, 37. Thursday, mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-30s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagik on News.
Chris, my heart is warmed.
Why is that?
Everyone's reaction to Jay from Chesterfield.
Wow, what a guy Jay is.
You know, I get the feeling that Bill, who says it has to be two ways, Jay, you can't suppress the other side, and Patrick are on two different sides of the political spectrum, but they both agree that Jay was off base, to put it delicately.
What Rush Limbaugh decides to do with his show is his prerogative. That is his prerogative. And I've heard people call Rush that are the opposite of what he believes in, and he talks to him. It's nonsense.
Well,
we don't live in an echo chamber, and we won't treat this show that way.
Yeah, and we'll have people call Guy's show like that and say, hey, you're saying something different that was said on Mark Levin's show or Rush's show, and it's like yeah, of course, because they're not all the same people.
Sure.
So I don't know. I mean, I'll be with him in a second. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know it's comforting to hear everyone share your point of view, but that's not the way the real world works.
Yeah, my goodness. If that's the world you've lived in, I'm very jealous. Wow.
I mean, honestly,
a little Mike love.
Yeah. As you notice, those are the ones I put up on the screen.
That's right.
But I mean, here's the thing. You have to expose yourself to different viewpoints for a number of reasons. Number one, it'll either help you strengthen your point of view, or or educate you to change it. And B, it's very shocking once you're kind of inundated with the same point of view and you hear a different point of view. And I think maybe that's what's happening with Jay. So you have to know that there's other points of view out there, and what those points of view are.
It's kind of like the old saying, keep your enemies close. Or keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, right? Like, don't you want to know what else is going on? Don't you want to know what other people are thinking? Don't you want to know the perspective of somebody else, so that when you're in a conversation, when you're interacting with somebody who doesn't believe in the same things as you got some firepower, you're prepared, you've done the research.
Right, you're going to get housed if you never hear an opposite viewpoint and you're having a debate with someone.
You can't just go and say, "Oh, well, Donald Trump is the best." Okay, but why? Back it up. This is why you can believe that. You can absolutely think that. You can have that opinion, but don't come with weak sauce.
Right. Oh, we're back here.
The Frank Beckmann Show, News Talk 760 WJR. Now sitting in for Frank Beckmann, here's Chris Renwick.
800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text. Back to the phones. Let's go to Murray in Romeo. Good morning, Murray.
Hey, Chris. Hey, great show today.
Thank you, man.
So the reason I'm calling in is I heard you ask a few times people who are just fed up and saying they're done.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking, okay, so what's next? What's down the road? And I think it's obvious that folks don't know, but what's not tenable is just more of the same. I mean, the Democrat Party, I would say they don't fight fair, and the Republican Party doesn't even fight hard. And so we see these things like these numerous instances of fraud and irregularities in the voting, and we can't even get all the Republican members of Congress to uniformly say this needs to be looked into. In fact, they just tell us, along with the media, hey, look away, nothing to see here. But there's far more to see here than there ever was with Russian collusion. So I think, me included, just fed up. I don't know what's next, but I'm not planning on throwing my support behind this feckless party of Republicans.
All right, and that's fair. And so, and look, I'm not asking for a blueprint, right, of what should be done, but I kind of am asking for what you want to do, right? If you want to tap out and say, I'm done, this is crazy, this is not the system that I want to participate in. If that's how you feel, then again, I ask, what do you want? Do you want Donald Trump to start his own party? Do you want some sort of, radical change in terms of leadership? What is the answer? What will keep you engaged? We've heard it a lot today. People are done. They're tapping out after this. This thing was stolen. Donald Trump's getting screwed over. The Democrats lie. They cheat. They steal. We're out. Okay, fine. What keeps you in? What do you want to have done? If Donald Trump's your guy, if this is the guy that you're throwing your support behind, if this is the guy whose corner you're standing in, cool. What do you want to see happen? There are 75 million people out there that are behind Donald Trump. Just saw it 2 months ago. Okay. With that said, there are many lawmakers and former lawmakers that are behind this guy that I would imagine many people who support the president would be into. Guys like Tim Scott, Nikki Haley's of the world. Those are the people that have been by Donald Trump through everything. So you're telling me if one of them go out and put their name in the hat to run for president, you're out still? I mean, again, if you're looking for some wholesale changes, and you're cool with having somebody like a king, like if you just want Donald Trump to be president for the rest of his life, fine. But again, what do you want to have happen? What keeps you engaged? That's all I'm asking. 800-859-0957. Let's go to Gary in Harrison Township. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, Chris, good morning. Thank you. Great person, great show, great team behind you. I was telling the caller or the interviewer, what happens by the end of this year when they do prove fraud in election nationwide, if somebody actually goes and gets to be able to count all those. Mm-hmm. Also, I think Mike Pence would have a great run as president in 2024 because I think he was a very good vice president. And, he has 4 years experience in the White House. That's my comment. Sure. I'll let you talk about him. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too, Gary. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I would imagine that Mike Pence would have, Mike Pence would be a logical next choice. Absolutely. And again, the people that I've named, I think have a real shot. Like Tim Scott to me is a really appealing candidate. Smart guy, good head on his shoulders, just seems to get it. Common sense. Nikki Haley, I've really, really been a big fan of Nikki Haley ever since she I believe, and boy, I'd have to go back and look as it's just off the top of my head. I believe she was the Republican response to Barack Obama's final State of the Union. I'm pretty sure. And I was just like, wow, she is awesome. She's terrific. Like there are people that are in the president's corner that stand by him. Like those are the people that are kind of the next phase of the party, I would imagine. And those are Donald Trump's people. So I don't know why you'd be out. 800-859-0957. RJ, Warren. What's up, RJ?
Hey, I've been following this election for a while, and in Michigan, I know the guy who did the audit in Antrim County. He went to Harvard. He worked for NASA, and he had a legitimate report saying, this system was designed for fraud to occur. And what's frustrating is Mr. Shirky, he completely just shot down the whole report. He said, nope, no fraud, nothing to see here. And then I see an article in Detroit News yesterday while I'm in CVS, and he's saying, yeah, we're going to look into irregularities later in this year. And it's like, what good is that going to do anybody? Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you should have an open door policy. We're going to audit this. This isn't right. Either way, it's a win-win.
Sure.
It's
a good point. Right. It's what good does it do you to come back in 6 months and say, oh my God, there was so much fraud. We found so much fraud. It's too late. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. I appreciate the call, RJ. Thank you. Let's go to Richard in Chelsea. Richard, what's up?
Morning, Chris. Listen, I've been listening to your program all morning, and I'm getting a little uptight with the psychobabble. There's only so many times you can beat a dead horse. But there was one caller that made more sense than anybody else, and I don't know if I'm the only judge of this. He said that the government cannot even provide us with illegal and fair elections, but they can put a microscope up our butt and see if our farts are sideways. Mm-hmm. I think he made more sense than anybody else. And Chris, I think one more thing. If Frank Beckmann ever decides to hang up his Halter, I think you would be a perfect candidate to take over the show. You do an excellent, excellent job.
Well, that's very kind of you, Richard. I appreciate that, and I hope Frank's in it for the long haul. But I will say that I in terms of just common sense here. I mean, people are frustrated, and it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay. I think that's part of what makes tomorrow so important. When these lawmakers go to the Hill and say, "Look, we object to this because we just want to find out what's wrong. We want to find out if something is wrong. We want to find out what happened." And if that's the case, and we find out what happened, then fine. Then I think everybody should be able to move on at that point. If there was some mass fraud and this thing gets turned around, fine. Then those people can go, yep, we were on it this whole time. And if not, then hopefully we can move on. All right. Big goings on down in Georgia today. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll get back with you tomorrow on it. And of course, tomorrow, the Electoral College is up in the Capitol, Washington, D.C. We already know many are going to challenge. We'll see how it goes. We'll cover it for you tomorrow. Chris Renwick in for Frank Beckmann. Appreciate your time today. Have a good one, and we'll be back with you then. All right, but first, we got to go and check things out with Dana Clark. Dana.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Accident blocking the left lane along the Southfield Freeway southbound at Michigan Avenue. Seeing those brake lights from at least Ford Road. Now, WJR weather.
All right, here, let's catch up on some of our comments here before we split. Chris, always good to be challenged. That's how you improve, by checking things out. Couldn't agree more. And I just lost it. Where am I at here? That's why I listen to the show. No offense. I listen to all sides. It's what it should be. I think that's the only way to go. Ted Cruz, Kevin McCarthy, absolutely. Tim Scott is great. These are just the people that I think, I don't know if Ted Cruz is running for president again. The Lindsey Grahams and Mitch McConnells, I don't know what they run. But certainly there are people that are on the president's side, and they're young, they're up and coming. Those are the people that I think you start to see a little more of, especially the first part of this year and then into next year. And by the midterms, I think you're going to start seeing some real players coming out of the GOP. Chris and crew, great show and discussion. Everyone had a great day. Thank you, Mark. Good to see you. I agree. Pence would be a good candidate for next election. Have a great day, Chris. See you all, Mike, Nick included. Marjorie Green Taylor in 2024 put on the White House. I agree on that, Richard. It hurts to lose, and this caller is correct. You'd be great. Oh, Bill, thank you very much. And Patrick, have a nice day, guys. All right, thank you very much for listening, for watching, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. Thank you, boys. Appreciate it.
Bye. See you, Chris.
All right, see ya.
See you guys.